Hello, my Teaserking family. I am leaving pretty much today open for questions and comments. Um, we can talk a little football. So whatever you want, if you want football, gold, stocks, economy, anything you want to talk about. I have posted 3 locks in pros, or yes, 3 locks in pros. I got a college lock, a college pro lock, and a pro lock. So we'll see what happens. Pros, I'm kind of going back to my old way of looking at the trends, more of a trend analysis. And I don't think the over-under works very well yet. But I don't think we know the teams yet, although it does work a little bit. It did work on the Dallas-Philly lock and on the Dallas lock the week before. It didn't work on the Niner under lock. So I'm a little bit, I don't like to lose. So when I lose looking at that, I kind of went back and using a combination of how's the offense and defense versus how are my trends. So we're going to be doing that. Just stopped at the coin store. And I bought today, I bought 10 Eagles. You can see it. All right, so these are 10 U.S. Eagle $1 silver pieces. They had no rounds left. They had no more of those 10-ounce things that I bought. They are out. All they have are these. The reason they have these, so let's go into this. This is $35 for one because they don't print them anymore at the mint because they're hoarding them or whatever they're doing at the mint. So I got 10. This is how I get it, and I store it in here. So I bought 10 today. I wanted to buy another one of those 10 ouncers or a 10 of the bullions, but he's saying 4 weeks. They probably won't get any. I think what happens is if I have it, why would I sell it? I know it's going to go up. The shit's hitting the fan. They want to raise interest rates again, which is going to, it's basically if we think what's happening, if we think it out as to the why. In other words, I get mad at you go for it on fourth down. Why? Because I'm sitting there going, you don't need to go for it on fourth down. There's no reward for it. You're at your own 35. If you miss it, you lose the game. And if you make it, now you got first and 10 at the 37, let's say. So there's no value in it. That's kind of what I'm looking at. So why aren't there any silver? Well, because they know it's going to go up in price, so they're holding them, right? They don't want to sell them. I don't want to sell this to you for 35. I want to sell it to you at 2,000. That's why. And then you buy the rounds at 23 because when it hits 2,000, they'll all sell for 2,000. It's an ounce of silver or an ounce of gold, a half ounce of whatever it is. So that's what you're looking to do. That's how you do it. So by raising these interest rates, so we'll get a little economics here. When you raise interest rates, what is it? An interest rate is the cost to borrow money. That's all it is. So you're making money more expensive. Why would you make money more expensive? You think it'll stop inflation. What's inflation? Printing too much money. They think it'll lower the prices because they think it'll stop spending, but it won't. That's not how it works, especially now in a recession we basically have a depression going on, but they don't want to admit it. If you admit you got inflation like the Germans did in the 20s, you really have, that's what causes hyperinflation. So that's that demand push I said about. I think that's in here. there was 3 types of inflation. Where is it? I don't know. I'll take a quick look for it. Again, these are my notes. So what is inflation? Or increase in the money supply. The effects are decrease in purchasing power because the value of the dollar is worth less, and an increase in the price level. That's an effect of inflation, not the inflation itself. It transfers wealth. And then there's the 3 types of inflation. We're in fiduciary money, which is bank credit inflation. And I'm looking for that. Anyway, maybe. We can do a little Adam Smith today. Maybe it's in here. I apologize. Just give me 1 second. Here it is. So with inflation, what we have is there's demand pull, there's money supply, which is cost, and then cost push. Cost push is what happened with the Germans. It's the worst stop. It's hyperinflation. The money supply increases, prices. The money supply increases, prices increase faster. That's what they're trying to stop. Expectations drive the system. So you're getting people running to the store before the prices go up, which drives the prices up. So that's the worst kind. Stagflation is high inflation and high unemployment. So why are they raising interest rates, which is just the cost of money? All it does is bankrupt all the countries that have our dollars. Why would we want to do that? Well, we want to do that because we're not run by the U.S., we're run by China, and China wants us out of the way. So since China's running the U.S. government, they want to destroy the U.S. dollar. And since all these people are on the dollar, want to get off the dollar because they can't handle these increased because we raise interest rates because everything's connected to the dollar. That's the problem. So when they go to raise the interest rate, they're not going to do anything to inflation. You've already printed the money. You know, before in the 80s when they raised it to 20%, it brought back money, right? It brought it in. But here you have too much debt. That's why it won't work. Anyway, this is open forum. If you have any questions, comments that you want to, any subject you want to talk about, I am here to talk. We can look at gold, stock, Bitcoin, football. I'll leave that up to my students. Pardon me while I eat. I apologize for that. But I always like it when you're in a movie and the guy's eating a steak or something. What movie was that? And the guy had a steak. And it's like you want to run out and go buy a steak because the way he ate it. Anyway, gold versus Bitcoin. We can talk about that. So as you see, I just bought the silver. I just showed you, right? So why do I buy this? Because I don't have faith in the government that they're honest, and I don't have faith that the dollar is going to hold its value. This is an asset. This is money. It does say $1 on it. So if you see that, it does say it's worth $1. Now, obviously, the ounce of silver is worth more than the dollar. We don't care about that. Let's say you bought an old coin, right? What's its worth? Well, you know, it might say you might have a 1909 gold, you know, a piece of gold. It'll say $1 on it. We know it's not worth $1. You can get, you know, $2,000 for it if it's an ounce. So we really are understanding it's really not the face value. So we don't really care about that it's worth. It says $1. What's $1? So what we care about, what we care about, what's it worth as the ounce of silver? Why do we buy it? Because it's an asset and it's real money. What's the benefit? Well, if the dollar goes out, this will go up in value and you can use it to buy goods and services. Now, I was just at my gold store buying that, obviously. I go to check it out. I go to listen what's going on. They're not getting any more rounds in for a while. He had two maple leaf ounces. He had a Cougaran, and he had 4 U.S. American Eagle ounces. So he says people come in and sell it to him. That's why he's got a maple leaf or a Cougaran. The Cougaran was like $20 cheaper than the maple leaf, and they were like $100 cheaper than the Eagle. And I thought normally the Cougaran and the maple leaf are the same price. So I was like, why is the Cougaran cheaper now? An ounce of gold's an ounce of gold. He just said, well, people like that. They think that because the maple leaf says $100 and the U.S. says $50, the Cougaran doesn't say anything, that, it'll be dollars. And my argument was, but you're buying the ounce of gold. It doesn't matter. When the price finally gets off of the derivative price and shoots up, then it won't really matter that you've got it at that price. And that's that's what I understand that most people don't. They don't even know. If I tell somebody to buy gold or silver, they look at me like I'm from Mars, and I'm like, okay, I mean, you can look at me like I'm from Mars, but I'm not. I mean, it's like, I'm telling you what I just learned. That's why I teach it to you, is what I learned in my master's program. So you're getting a master's class, which is what I call it, because it is. And you can't find this information anywhere. And when you go on TV, go on YouTube, and you watch like a Mike Maloney who did that whole 10-step thing, you used to think he knew what he was talking about, but the more he talks now, the less I think he knows what he's talking about. He keeps showing graphs, but he never understands derivative versus physical gold. He'll show you a graph of, well, this is what gold did before, or silver, but this is different because you're not analyzing it versus derivative paper gold. Now you're going to do it versus physical, and there is no chart on it. And people that do charts don't really know what they're doing, because it's like me trending out the San Diego is a play against team 32-6. That's a chart, basically. That's a trend. That's, and it sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's what it is. And it's part of handicapping, is to look at trends and hope it happens that way in the future. But when you're comparing dollars versus gold versus silver versus heating oil versus other currencies versus whatever, you need to understand what caused the trend. You can't just show a trend and say, well, here's what it was in 2008, and gold went up and silver went down, because you're not dealing with derivative gold anymore. You're dealing with physical. And that's what we need, is to push to get a physical price. And as you can see by me going here today, he had only these American Eagles at 35 an ounce left. He didn't have the 10 ouncer that I showed you last week. He didn't have little rounds. Maybe you'll get it in, but if he gets it in, it'll only be for a day. And he doesn't know what to sell it for. He sells them for 5 over spot, which is corrupt. The spot is not a good price. It's not an accurate price. But he sells the Liberty. He sells the American Eagle silver at 35. Well, why are you selling one versus a different price than the other? Well, there's more demand. There's demand for the U.S. Eagle because it's real money. Yeah, but it's worth $1. Nobody's paying $35 for a dollar, right? Unless you think it's worth more. I tell them I think it's worth $2,000, so I'll buy all I can at 23, at 35. It doesn't matter to me. That's what I'm buying it at. So that's because the dollar, because this, all right, so because this is not backed by anything, because this is just paper, You can see now they add a blue stripe because the Russians counterfeit it, and all these other countries counterfeit it. So this is not limited at all, which is part of the Bitcoin theory. But because they're printing the hell out of this, you still printed the hell. Raising an interest rate doesn't stop you from printing more. And they got to print more because they got to pay for different, Social Security and the debt and all this other stuff. By having this debt, you can't raise interest rates. So you're printing this, makes this 100 is probably worth about 25 now. That's the problem. This is not worth 100, even though it says 100. It won't buy what $100 used to buy. And that's what you do when you see these 1970 movies. And a hamburger was $2 and a Coke was 20 cents or whatever. Gas was 99 cents. Back then, the $100 bought you more. Now the $100 buys you less. That is the whole game that nobody knows about, right? They don't teach you. You don't understand it. Why doesn't school teach you this? Because they don't want you to know it. Well, why not? Because the government wants you to be dependent on them. They want to be needed because they get all this little PAC money in, and they get all this people paying them to have a monopoly like JP Morgan and everything. That's where government gets their power. So they don't want you to know that this $100 bill is not what it used to be worth. This is the counter of that, right? This is worth $1. Now it's worth $35. Soon it'll be worth $1,000. Then it'll be worth $2,000. Then it won't even be valued in dollars. It'll have a much higher value. It'll buy a house. It'll buy a car, because it's the purchasing power of this versus this. So now I need 3 of these to get 1 of these. Or another way, this will buy me, it won't even buy me 3 anymore. This was this $105. So this buys me 3 ounces of silver. Before, it used to buy me 100 ounces of silver. It was 100. This is $1. At one point, this bought you 100 ounces of silver. Now it buys you 3. I think that's about all I need to say. I think that you now can understand what's happening to this, which is why you buy this. Now, people run to Bitcoin, but Bitcoin isn't this. As I pointed out, I can go to a restaurant and pay with this. But I can't. What am I going to do with Bitcoin if you don't accept it? I don't accept Bitcoin. You can't pay for Teaserking with Bitcoin. I don't accept it because I don't like it, because I don't know what it is. It's not. See, I have this. This is in my hand. I hold this. I can give it to you. You get it. It's $35. But you can't do it with Bitcoin. I can't give you anything. It's just in an account somewhere. Well, A, I need an account. B, how do I get rid of it? And then who takes it? Am I going to be able to go to a Mercedes dealership? I can with this because he's going to get it and he's going to say, yeah, I'll take it. But how is he going to take Bitcoin? He needs an account. What does he value it at? We know what this is valued at because this is already like a price. But Bitcoin, we don't know the value of the Bitcoin. So Bitcoin becomes a real tricky, everybody likes it, but nobody understands is why do you like it? Nobody can explain why it's going to go up. Oh, it'll go up. Why? Well, I don't know, but it will. But that's not an answer. I can tell you this is going to go up. I should probably just leave this out. This is going to go up because this is going to go to, so soon what'll happen is this buys 3. Eventually this will buy 2. And then eventually this will buy 1. And then eventually you'll need 10 of these to buy 1. So this is the common denominator that keeps going down. You'll need more of these to buy this. What will Bitcoin do? Is Bitcoin going to be worth more because this goes down? I don't see why it would. Why would Bitcoin be worth more because the dollar goes down? That's the question that needs to be answered that nobody can answer. Well, I can answer because it's not an asset. It's not money. and it's not accepted everywhere. As I gave you on the last video, it needs to be accepted to be money. There was 5 keys of money, and it really doesn't have any of them. It's got to be accepted by everybody, and it's got to be fungible, and it's got to be divisible. So that's not what happens. Now, moving forward, now it takes 20 of these to buy this, which is what I'm saying. So I'm buying this now, where soon I can turn it in and get 20 of these, but I don't want 20 of these. These are garbage. So eventually what happens is, so here's what happens. They'll then tear this up, boom, and they'll bring out a new guy with a new picture and a new dollar, and they'll say, hey, here's the new dollar. And if you have 100, this will buy you 10 of the new dollars. So they're going to reset the value of the US dollar. They'll just come out with a new one, and it'll be worth, this will buy you, let's say 20. Let's keep it, this will buy you 20 of the new dollar. That's what'll happen. So there'll always be a dollar, because you need to go to the restaurant and the grocery store and buy clothes and pay for gas and buy your utilities. So you always need that. That's the purpose of this. So when this goes to, all right, you need 20 of these to buy this, or this is worth 20, we'll then go to, okay, here's the new one. So now I need 10 of the, one of these now buys, let's say 5 of these. And then you go to the grocery store and you don't need, all of a sudden the prices are changed. That's what tends to happen. So when the prices change, but this becomes worth even more valuable. Eventually that won't work. So they'll need dollars that are now backed by this. Okay, this is worth, an ounce of silver, let's say. Once this is worth an ounce of silver, then this is okay. Now, okay, I can trust this money because it's backed by silver. And if I want the silver, I get it. And that's the gold standard and the silver standard. And that's what Russia's done. What would you rather have, a dollar backed by that or a dollar that's going to lose its value? And that's about as clean as I can get. So that's why I buy gold and silver, because that will go up. As this, now I need 20 to buy one, and I'm going to need 5,000 to buy an ounce of gold, right? I'm going to need 50,000 of these to buy it. And it's really this losing value, because as you print it and print it and print it, this goes down. Even though it says 100, it really might as well say 20, because that's really what it's worth. And most people are clueless about that. This is an open show, so if there's any topic you'd like to talk about, feel free, just ask a question. We can get into anything, gold, Bitcoin, football, it doesn't matter. So that's kind of that's kind of why I go to the store and buy it. He's saying he's out of it, which means a lot of people are buying it. Again, for the reason I just gave you, it's for safety. What do I do when this goes, this is worth, really $5? What do I do? Well, you're broke. So if you don't own this isn't going to help you anymore, because this is really not going to be worth 100. And it's scary, yes. And I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to help you. So most people don't understand. They think this is still worth 100. It's not. What the 100 buys with it is less, right? It buys you what $20 used to buy you. Just look at anything in the 70s. I remember Star Wars was the greatest grossing movie, and it made $2 million or $10 million. And then they go, well, in inflated terms, it's like 10 billion. That's exactly what I mean. This doesn't buy you as much. That's the problem. So as this loses value, that's why you need this in gold. Why don't you need Bitcoin? Because it's not money. It's not accepted everywhere. It's not divisible. And if I got one, first I need to have an account. And then if I get it, I'm going to get this. I want this. Then this holds a value and it'll go up. But it goes up because now this buys you far less. So it's really called purchasing power, which is what it was. It's what does it buy? And therefore, That's really what you're looking. Can you go get, a hamburger? Can you buy food? Can you buy clothes? Can you pay your bills with it? That's really the key to it. What does it buy for you? Is really the value, and gold and silver will buy you more, but not Bitcoin. So then what happens is I need this. All right. And this is falling, this buys me less when my bills are going up because this avocado, went up. It costs more. So this 100 buys less avocados than it used to. Well, my bills go up, so I need to A, lock everything up fixed. Don't put it variable. B, as the value of this drops, I need money to pay my bills so I can live. I got to eat. I got to have a roof over my head. I got to pay I'm on heat. So as all that really doesn't get more expensive, this just keeps losing value is what you keep printing it. And this is what the Keynesians plan is. Well, we'll just keep printing more without seeing the fact that this loses value. They don't understand that, I need rent. I'll just print more money off my money tree and I'll just go to the Fed and print more money. And then I get the money and I'll pay. They don't realize that this 100 now buys $50 worth of goods and services. So they don't realize that the value of the dollar has dropped. That's the inflation. That's what it is. That causes prices to go up, but really not. It's just this purchasing power's dropped. So it doesn't really buy you as much as what it used to. And that's really what's going on, but it's going on with every country. So in all the other countries, I'm in, let's say I'm in Switzerland and I want to go to England. I want to go to London for vacation. Okay, I got to take my Swiss dollar and buy these and then take this and buy pounds. So I can have pounds when I'm walking around to pay for goods and services in London. Well, why do I need dollars? See, we're the middleman, right? But since we raise interest rates, this costs more. So now, because it costs more, I need more francs to change to get more dollars to buy the British pound. This is the problem that's happening all over the world as we raise interest rates, because they can't just take Swiss francs and buy pounds. They got to take Swiss francs and buy dollars to buy pounds. We're the middleman. So we're this monopoly. So very clever of whoever set it up that we'd be a monopoly. Very stupid of the countries going, what the fuck are we doing? Why are we going to US dollars? That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. It's like all these idiot coaches going for fourth down. Well, we'll just go for fourth down because obviously we couldn't get 10 yards and 3 downs. How hard can it be to get 3 yards on fourth down? Like, look how aggressive we are. Let me hear it, Troy Aikman, Tony Romo. Look how smart we are. We're going for it on 4th and 3. Oops, we didn't get it. Well, anyway. So what Powell's doing is by raising rates is making this more expensive, and the countries are getting pissed off. They're going, wait, this is ridiculous. This guy's going to hit us, keeps raising rates, we're not going to be able to afford to get out of it. Our currency is losing value because it's priced in dollars. So the higher this gets worth to other countries. So raising interest rates does not make this worth more. It makes the other countries worth less, right? So because they need more Swiss francs to buy the dollar, so all these countries are getting pissed off. And the question is, why is Powell doing it? Is the question need to be asked. And the reason he's doing it is to bankrupt the other countries, because we're run by China, and China wants to get the US dollar out of the way so they can be the lead currency. That's why they're doing it. So that's what happens when he raises interest rates. So everybody wants to lead the dollar and say, well, this is bullshit. Why don't we just use our Swiss francs to buy pounds? I mean, why do we need to go buy dollars? And then when we make it more expensive, we fuck everybody else who's relying on the dollar. And that's why Russia and China and this whole thing about the BRICS countries are against the dollar are joining together saying, well, we'll just do it ourselves. We'll just have a currency backed by gold, so nobody can fuck around with us. We'll back it by gold, and then we'll all just use that currency, and we don't need the US dollar. And that's why it's going to break. The only reason this has been the major reserve currency is because of oil. You had to buy oil, and dollars is now off the table. Now you're going to be able to use any currency. Now, back to what I was talking about. So this will be replaced with another paper currency. This will not be replaced with digital currency because the banks own the Congress and Senate, right? Everybody gets elected, is elected by J.P. Morgan, Rothschild, that other big guy, Rockefeller. They're the ones who own the politicians. They're basically the ones running the country. However, they run other countries too. So in their best interest, they would not want digital currency. They want you to go to the bank, because if you don't go to their bank, they're not going to make any money. They make money by stealing our money and printing new money with our money. And so if I give them 100, they go print $90 and just create $90 with my 100. My 100's not in the bank. Whenever I get money in, I immediately run to the bank. I leave enough in for like 2 months' bills, and the rest I take out, put in the safe, and then buy these fellas, because I don't want a lot of money in the bank because it's not going to stay. So they won't go to digital. They'll create a new one, and then that's what will happen. This will be revalued this will buy so many of the new dollars. Eventually, this should be the reserve currency, gold and silver. But the governments don't like it because they can't print it. This they can print 1 billion of, right? That's why there's so many billionaires, but it's not worth $1 billion. It's not worth a 1970 billion. It's worth a 2022 billion, which is worth about $100. So all these guys that are billionaires really don't have a lot. It really doesn't buy them a whole lot. Should, what you would think a billionaire is. And I know China and Russia have a lot of billionaires because it's very corrupt there. It's basically communist, government run, socialist, we'll call it. So they have monopolies. So that's why they're all rich. You have the 100 oligarchs that are rich, and then everybody else has $10. I know people there, they don't make anything. They work 12-hour days. They're just slaves, and they don't know it. I got a job and I make, 100, and he made $150, I think, a week working at maybe it was a month, and he worked at a hotel, and he worked 6-hour days, and he worked 12-hour shifts, and he makes 150 a month. And I'm like, dude, I make that in half a day. Like, are you kidding me? So we don't realize how good we have it here, but that's where we're headed. So that's money, right? That's why you buy gold and silver. The reason you don't buy Bitcoin is you don't know the value. Is it going up because this goes down? Is it a real asset? Well, I don't find it to be an asset. And this is why I look at Mike Maloney like he's an idiot, going, you bought Bitcoin, but you don't even know what it is. It's not an asset. It's not money. So that brings us to, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Mickey Mantle baseball cards. Those are the same as this. So it's going to take, so if you have a Brady card and it's worth 10,000 because it's a PSA 10, as this drops, it's now worth 30 or 40,000, and then the new currency comes out and it's worth 100,000 of the new currency. A baseball card is the same as this in gold. It's the same exact thing. It is what it is. It's an asset. You can hold it, and it has value. And I'm not going to walk into a restaurant with this. I'm going to exchange this for new currency. This is worth 2,000 of this. Then it becomes worth maybe 500 of the new currency. Well, I'm going to go to the bank and give him that, or go to the dealer. He'll give me 500 of the new currency, and that's what I use to go to the store. So that's what happens. That's why we're not actually going to be using the gold and silver straight away. I'm not going to walk in necessarily to buy a suit and give them this. I'm going to get money and use the money. However, I might give them this, but it's got to be, if this is 2000 and I want to buy a $500 suit, I'm not going to give them 2000. I'll go wash it. I'll go give me the 2000, then I give them 500 of it. This will be the new currency, will be what we use to spend, but it's no different now. So you have a Michael Jordan card and it's worth $5,000. Most of them are worth, even the bullshit hoops cards are worth 300-400. So you have those cards and, okay, you get it PSA 10 and now it's worth $5,000 and you sell it on eBay and you get PayPal for this. And that's what happens. So then you take it and you get the change for it. And then that's what you use to go to the grocery store and pay your bills and everything else. Just like you would do it with the silver. So you would use the Brady card to get that. The difference is I got to go to a coin store or go on eBay and sell it. With the Brady card, I either go to a trade show or I go on eBay to sell it. So again, it's finding the buyer to buy it, but then you're going to use the proceeds. They're going to pay you in the new dollars. And the ruble just collapsed and they went, and it's the 7th ruble that has come out, but this one's backed by gold and silver. That's why it went from 140 to 50, because it's backed by gold and silver. And it'll probably be par if you could buy them. And I don't know, we can buy rubles here. It's going to be worth even par with the dollar, probably be worth more because it's got gold and silver in it. So really, that's what you're going to do. So as the gold hits 50,000, you'll simply keep it. And then when, okay, you'll go to wherever to get the 50,000, you'll sell it. Well, what do you do now? I saw a Rolex on eBay for 80 grand. What did the guy do? He sold it. He got 80 grand in. It's going to be no different. So you're going to have your gold and you'll get 50 grand for it. And off you go. Now he would, if he wanted to, give the Rolex to buy a $50,000 thing. Hey, Bonilla, did it go at the coin shop yesterday? This was this morning. So I bought 10 of these, which are the Eagles, for 35 because he didn't have anything else. He didn't have those 10-ounce bars anymore. They're all sold out. The only thing he has left are these Silver Eagles, or if you want Canadian or Philharmonics, which are Austrian, for the $35. So I just said, give me 300 worth. And he says, well, that would be 8.5. I said, okay, what's 9? And then, so I gave him 315 for 9. Well, no, I don't want to spend, I've got a lot. So this is kind of like, okay, I'll buy another 9, 10 of them. Gold, he had very little. He had 4 ounces of Eagles. American, he had 1 Cougaron and 2 Maple Leafs. That's all he had in gold. Oh, and then he had these really strange gold little grams. And apparently they're not even, I think you need 30 grams to get an ounce. So I think they're English or European, where they talk grams, we talk ounces. So they were I want to say $60 for the little grams. So I think it ended up being I think it was 30 to an ounce. So it would have been $1,800 to buy 30 of them. He had about 10 of them. So I could have bought, 5 of those, which would have been maybe like a quarter ounce for $300 if I wanted to. But I've got some 1/10, but I didn't, I'll buy the silver right now. So he didn't have it. I did ask him about you. I says, why didn't you help Bobby Bow out with the order? And I think it was just the shipping, and he kind of, I think he thought that for what you were buying and the cost, if you could find it in Florida, save the $15. What I used to buy from him was $15, but I'd buy gold and silver. So I'd buy 2 ounces in that. So I'm buying $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 items that he's shipping. So the $15 on gold is fine. And I told him in Alabama, you can't find it. It's such a backward ass state. They didn't, I couldn't find a coin shop like I have here. That's why I would call them and go, there was one guy, oh, I don't have. One guy just bought, didn't sell. So, I mean, there was really no gold and silver store. We should open one up, but I hate Alabama. Open up one there, but that's why I had to buy from my guy. I thought, oh, there'll be a coin store there. I'll just buy it like what you had to do in Florida. So anyway, this is a open show. So any questions, comments about anything, gold and silver, Bitcoin, football, stocks, the economy, anything you want to talk about. I've been talking about the value of the dollar dropping, which I thought I was a fascinating way to explain it. That here's how I said it. If you buy, this will buy you 3 of these. Soon this will buy you 1 of these, and then soon you'll need 10 of these to buy this, and then you'll need 20 of these to buy this. It's the value of this dropping that buys this. And I thought that was such a great way to explain what's going on, because this is what's losing purchasing power. And then so before, this would probably you could probably buy 10 of these with this. Is now 3, is now 1, is now you need 10 of these. So this 100 is really worth, $10 maybe, $20 at the most. Only thing they got going for them out there is the Tide. Oh yeah, Alabama. Well, they don't even have a pro team, and I joked about it, and they all said, "Well, Alabama's our pro team," and I'm like, as bad as I'm in Detroit and we have the Lions, I don't consider them a pro team. At least I get to see Aaron Rodgers twice a year, and I got to see Gale Sayers, and I got to see Walter Payton. So at least I got to see pro players. But you don't even have a pro team in Alabama. You know what pissed me off? They didn't even have a casino. They had no poker room. Like, I'm a big poker player. They had no poker room. They had no casinos. They didn't even have restaurants. I mean, they just have like Wendy's and Burger King, and then this imitation fake barbecue restaurants that are, you order at the counter, and it's like a cafeteria style. They didn't even have like I go to my barbecue place and I talk silver with my guy. It's, you sit down at the table. Here's your slab of ribs or chicken. You get fries or baked potato and salad all included. They didn't have anything like that. It was very eye-opening how backwards Huntsville, Alabama is. Never go there. Never work for Japanese. They think it's World War II, and they treat Americans like garbage. So those are the don'ts, and that goes anywhere. But fortunately, I think all the Toyotas are going to go out of business because they can't. Their dollar is now 150. Excuse me. Which means it takes 150 of their dollars to buy 1 of these. Let's pretend it's a $1 bill. 150 to buy 1. So times 100. So it's what? So 15,000 buys you $100 bill. And as we know, this is garbage. So theirs is even more garbage. So their country's collapsing because of the debt. They're all too stupid to understand it, or they want it to crash. I don't know what the hell's going through these people's minds. How do you sell a Rolex? So, Bobby, you own a Rolex. It's worth 20 grand. What do you do with it? Well, how do you exchange it? Well, if you want, you go to the jeweler that you bought it at. He gives you 20 grand. Or you go on eBay and he gives you 30 grand. Or they give you 30 grand. Then you get the cash, and that's how you get it. So what's going to happen, you're going to take this, and this will be worth $2,000 an ounce, and you're going to sell it either on eBay or you go back to the coin store. Or we get a club going that we want to buy, and we buy amongst ourselves, which is probably the best way. Avoid taxes and everything that way. So you then get 2,000. Now what'll happen is this will go out of existence, and they'll replace it with a new money. Here's the new US dollar. And that's what you're going to use, is the new US dollar. to pay for Target and Kroger's and gas and all your food and everything. That's what'll happen. This is a matter of convenience. This is a medium of exchange, which is how do I pay for food? Well, what do you do with the house? You can't obviously, you can't take the house in and say, I want to buy, groceries. So you take a loan on your house, or you sell your house or something, which buys you the money. So this will go to zero. Boom. Then they'll have a new dollar, which will come out. This is what happened in Nazi Germany in 1930, right? They were printing billions of these, and they were wallpapering their walls because they lost value. Then they came out with a new Deutschmark. That's what Hitler used. And that's what'll happen. And notice what Hitler did. Crazy moron, the stupidest man alive. What did he do? He got gold. He stole gold. His whole World War II was going to Czechoslovakia. What did he do? He stole the gold. Go to France, stole the gold. Go to Czechoslovakia, stole the gold. Go to Poland, stole the gold. Wherever he went, the only reason was to get the gold. Basically, he took the country. He didn't want the country. What was the country worth for him? He wanted natural resources, because Germany doesn't have any. They don't have oil. They don't have a waterway. They're fucked. They're in the middle of nowhere with no resources. That's one reason they go to war all the time. And they need oil. And that's why Russia's pumping all this oil to Germany, because they don't have any. But then you're held hostage by the Russians because you need the oil, but you don't have. So that's really why this whole go to green energy, because they want to get out of oil because they don't have it. And they want something. Oh, we'll use wind. We have wind. That's not energy. So what did they do? They came out with new dollars, and they used that to buy equipment and food and everything else. And that's what will happen. So this goes away. Oh, this 100 is now worth 20 new dollars, basically. That's what happens. This protects you. Where now I need 20 of these. Okay, I need 20 of these to buy this. Now I come out with new dollars. So now I can change this back. And now these are worth $20. So now I need whatever, let's say I get this, I get 500 of the new dollars, just for example. And that's what you'll use to spend it. So there'll always be this. But if you don't back this by this and say this is what it's worth, you'll always print this to zero. It's always happened every time in history of life. It's happening now. That's the warning. This is going to zero. This will be replaced, and they'll say, oh, yeah, Mr. Bonilla, this 100, we're going to give you $20 for. So if you have 100 grand in the bank, you got 20 grand in the bank. And you're like, what the fuck? Your protection is this, because this will hold its value. So this goes up as this goes down, and then the new currency comes, and then you give them, here's the silver, which you either go back to the coin store for the new currency, or you go to eBay and you sell it, just like you would sell a Rolex right now, right? So you sell a Rolex for 50 grand, you get the money, you turn it into money. That's what will happen. They'll just come out with new money, but it won't be digital, because the banks who own the politicians won't let the politicians go out to get digital, and the banks all go out of business, and Wall Street goes out of business. And let's not forget who runs the country, the bankers. So therefore they control the politicians. No politician in the world is going to go against the banks, because the banks put them in office. Therefore, it'll always be money. It'll never be digital. So keep that in mind. You might use your debit card, but it will never go digital currency. So that's what you'll do with your gold and silver. So don't worry. It's like if you have, let's say you own a Mickey Mantle card. No offense, Bobby Bo. Maybe you own a Barry Bonds card, although without the steroids, they're not worth much. Let's say you own a Mickey Mantle card and it's worth, $600,000. What do you do with it now? You have it. What if you own a Picasso? It's worth $1 million on your wall. What do you do with it? So it's the same question that you have now. Well, when the time comes, you sell it for this. And that's what you do. Only you don't see them all. You get a thing in, and then you put it in your bank, and you think you're safe. Only problem is the banks are, how are they going to, they're not going to stay in business because they keep printing. They're making this worth less. They keep printing it. It becomes worth, it buys, the purchasing power of this buys less and less and less. That's the problem. But this will keep going up because as this drops, this goes up. And it hasn't because they're price fixing it with COMEX. And I'm screaming going, that's collapsed and it's going to be out. And then the price is going to be in this, not in paper. And once that happens, so what's happening is the US wants you to buy this, not that. So they keep this price low. So everybody who is not educated in this on purpose, because they don't teach you this in economics. I stumbled into an Austrian economics class, which I'm reading my notes to you, that teaches you this and gold and this is paper. That's the only place you learn. Otherwise, everybody's in the dark. So when I scream, buy this, everybody looks at me like I'm on drugs. I go, you can't, this is going to lose the value. Oh, no, how is that going to lose the value? Did you see the Nazis in 1929, 1930 make this go to zero? Did you see the wheelbarrows to get money to get milk and bread? Did you watch that part of life? And that's what happened. Did you see what the Romans did and how their dynasty ended? And if the Romans dynasty ends, then, nothing's safe. So that's what's happening. This is going out because they keep printing and printing and printing. Raising interest rates doesn't help this. Raising interest rates just makes the Canadian and the Swiss and all these other currencies pay more for the dollar. So they're all getting killed and they're all leaving the dollar, going to a new currency that they don't like, the US, which you got to figure the US wants for some strange reason, because we're probably run by the Chinese, who wants the US out of the picture. That's why they're doing it. Nobody's that stupid. The coaches are stupid going on fourth down every freaking time. But, I did see San Diego kick a field goal Monday night. I was watching the highlights this morning, and they kicked a field goal on fourth. It was 4th and 2 at the 10. They kicked a field goal. I almost fell out of my chair. Mr. Bonilla. How about my rookie card? Sorry, dude. No value. Very good way to elaborate on that. Thank you. By the way, when was the last time that the U.S. created a new dollar? 1945, Bretton Woods. The dollar was backed by gold. In 1971, Nixon took us off that. So probably created a new dollar, but really all he did was take it off of gold. So I don't know that he actually created a new dollar. And then because we were on Bretton Woods, people trusted the U.S. and then we were the reserve currency. So people trusted that. And because people trusted the U.S., so right now, nobody trusts us. And I can't blame them. I don't trust us. The shit we did in Afghanistan and the shit Biden's doing and the border in Mexico, what the fuck's going on here? And it's all part of the plan, obviously. So that's what's happening. Your rookie card was tops, and they printed too many of them. So I don't know. I'll check yours on a PSA 10. But you always need PSA 10s. The other companies don't work. But you came out in the 80s, and they didn't really have limited cards. I have a Steve Eiserman 101. I don't know what that's worth, but I assume a couple thousand, but it should be worth a lot more, and it's numbered 101. But it needs the Mantles, the Mazes. Ken Griffey Jr. Got a little value, but the Jordan rookie and the Brady rookies are it. So, I mean, that's really where you want to be. And being a Jordan, being a Mantle, being a Brady, I think are the three main. Kobe, because he died, seems to have a value. Those are probably the big ones, but I can think of others. But anyway, the better these older cards that you want to get in mint condition. So all the 60s, Johnny Unitas, Gale Sayers, get them in mint condition, it'll be worth a ton. So I don't really know. I mean, if I look at the date on this is series 2013. They're printing it all the time, but I don't think you would call it a different dollar, but it was printed then. Mahomes in a few years, well, he's got to win another couple of Super Bowls. Joe Burrow, is what I think is coming up. And I don't know about Lamar Jackson. He doesn't do anything. So if you look, these guys that came up, like Jared Goff was the #1 draft pick. His rookie card would be worth 5 cents. Who wants it? He doesn't win. So you really, and Mahomes, he's won the Super Bowl, needs to probably win 2 more. But yes, he's got that personality. Russell Wilson, he needs to win a couple more. But that's what you. Peyton Manning, I got his. They're not worth what they should be. But Brady's won all the Super Bowl. That's the key with the Brady cards. And I'll tell you the best time to buy them. Brady, I think, had won 2 Super Bowls when I started buying his rookie cards. And I bought all that I could find. And I got this. They're all limited. The ones I got were limited. It says 736 on it, a Pacific card. I showed it on one of my other videos. I can show it on tomorrow. And basically, they're just, if you get them, you got to get them PSA 10, but PSA 10, they're worth like 15,000. PSA 9, they're worth like 1,500. So it's amazing how that is affected by that. But again, they're like this, right? You have silver, you have a Brady card, you have a Mahomes card. And they're at, see, the difference is this is not at market. This says $35. And as you're talking, so let's talk Mahomes. Let's say his rookie card's worth 5,000. That's market. This should be worth more than a Mahomes card because this is actually real money. But it'll all come through at the end. The values of all those Mahomes and Mantles and all those cards will be worth a lot more because this is now, this is basically a $10 bill. It'll say 100 on it, but it'll buy what a $10 bill used to buy, right? What does this buy? So that's the thing. I heard somebody in the hot tub yesterday talking about tires. Well, I went to Bell Tire. It's a tire place here. And, I spent $1,000 on 4 tires. So the value of this, you used to buy them for 300. So the value of this went from 3 of these to buy the tires to 10 of these to buy the tires. That's kind of the perspective you have to understand about this. And what I'm warning you is this is going to be basically worth $1, right? And then it's worth 0. And then they replace it in defense. This, the Mantle card, gold, this, diamonds, Picassos. Real assets will hold and go up because it'll take more of these to buy it. But because it's an asset, it will always have demand, right? People are worried, well, when this goes to 2,000, will there be demand for this? There'll be more demand for it at 2,000 than there is now. There's no demand for this now because people don't understand what it is. They don't get that this is an asset. They don't get this is losing value because they still see the 100 on it. And they don't get that this is $35. And that's only because this is a Liberty. The other ones are $23. They don't get that this is kept down on purpose because the U.S. wants this. They don't want this. So they say, this is worthless. People look at that price and they go, it's not worth anything. I don't want it. When this hits 2,000 an ounce, let's say this hits 1,000 an ounce on its way up, everybody's going to go, oh, shit, I should have owned it. I could have had it at $30 or $25 if I'd listened to the professor, but I didn't listen to him because I didn't believe him. And now this has gone out, and now this has gone to 1,000. And then there'll be more people saying, fuck, I got to get out of my house. I got to get out of the stock market. If I own bonds, I got to get out of this, and I got to get this. And there'll be lines, and that'll make it go to 2,000 or 3,000 because now all the people holding this are starting to realize this isn't worth anything. They don't know it yet, but the guy bought 4 tires, needed 10 of those instead of 2 of those. And I bet you in the 70s, $100 buy you 4 tires. Right. And that's what they mean by inflation adjusted. So let's say it's 1975 and you needed 4 tires for your car and you went in with 100 and they gave you back $20. It was probably $75, $80. I remember this. I've been driving since 70. What was I? When was I 16? 75. So let's say it's 77, 78. And I needed 4 tires for my Plymouth Duster, and I'd walk in with this, and that would buy me 4 tires. So now we move ahead, and now I need 10 of these to buy the 4 tires. So my biggest example is gold was 35 for an ounce. So you needed $35, not 100, to buy 1 ounce of gold. Pretend this is gold. Now I need 1,800. I need 18 of these to buy the same ounce. I think that's really the proof right there. That's what's happening. But people see, they still see the 100 and they go, oh, well, it's worth 100. But what is the 100 worth? You go to the grocery store now, it takes you 100 to buy groceries, where before it'd probably take you $25 to buy a nice steak and, potatoes and some salad and Coke, and maybe you bought cigarettes and whiskey and all that, and you probably walked out with $35. We're now you need 200. That's what's happening, but nobody understands it because you keep seeing 100, and that's really that's why when I get a paycheck or I get something, I run to the bank and take it out. I just got a paycheck and my vacation pay paid out. I ran to the bank and took it all out, put it in my safe, because I'm worried I won't be able to get the money out of the bank because the bank doesn't hold your money. So if you have 100,000 in the bank, you can't get it out. They don't have it. They might have 20 or 30,000. They have to order the money. And then you got to be first in line when it comes. And that's what a bank run is. So you're going to go to the bank for your 100 grand and it's not going to be there. And your 100 grand's not going to be worth shit anyway, but you don't know it. So that's the big scam that people don't know. And that's what I'm trying to explain. And I think this is a good way to explain it. But that's why I go and run and buy as much of this as I can, because I'm like, oh, I just spent, well, in this case, $35 for something worth $2,000. And when, Howard, when's it going to move? Well, the U.S. is fighting hard to say this is money. Don't buy this. That's what they're doing. This is the war on gold. They're saying buy this because it's a monopoly, and J.P. Morgan makes money when you buy these, not these. And J.P. Morgan owns a lot of this shit too. So if J.P. Morgan owns this, why? Well, because he knows this is crap. Because this isn't backed by this. That's why you need currency backed by gold and silver. Then it won't lose its value. You can't print it. And that's the problem with the government. They don't want it because I can't inflate gold and silver. I can print all this. And they think this is how stupid they are. They don't understand. They think that you can just keep printing and it won't lose its value, that the $100 today will be worth $100 tomorrow. And it won't. And that's the whole lesson here. It doesn't hold its value. You can't just print it. You need to have it. This should be the reserve currency, gold and silver. And that's where we're headed to. This will go out. They'll come out with a new dollar. If it's backed by gold and silver, it's fine. If it's not, it'll go to zero also. It'll lose its value. It takes a little bit of time and a lot of deceit because most people don't know that it's losing their money. That's the problem. So they see the $100. You see the $100 bill, and you're like, "Oh, I'm fine. I got $100." Yeah, but it's really like 20. You almost got to think like it's $20 is what you have, and that's why you go out and buy a house right now, only because you're let's say it's 400,000. I'm gonna pay you back in 20s, and that's why they need the high interest rate, because they want to get paid. They want the 100 back. The only way to get the 100 back is they got to raise interest rates to 10% to get their 100 back. And what Powell's doing is just destroying the other countries. It's part of the plan to blow it all up and then come out with the new currency. This is just insanity, because then who's the currency? They want one currency. So it doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's what's happening. So with that said, why don't we buy Bitcoin? Because we can't hold it. We don't know the value. There is market rate of 19,000 or whatever, but is that real? How do you get rid of the Bitcoin? Where can you use it? Here, I know I can go on eBay and sell it. Can I sell Bitcoin? Okay, how do I sell Bitcoin? And then I'm going to get this for it, where this will go up in value. So I don't really, Bitcoin is not a money, but I don't think it's an asset because I can't hold it. So that's my problem with Bitcoin. I don't own it. You can't pay me in Bitcoin because I don't have an account. I don't need an account for this. If you want to pay me in this, I'll be happy to accept it. If you want to pay me in Bitcoin, I won't accept it because I don't even have an account. I don't know anything about it. I don't really know the value of it, and I don't know how to get, what to do with it, right? So, and then nobody will take it. Like I said, I can go to my barbecue place right now, have a rib dinner, and give them this. She'll take it, and that'll pay for lunch. But because I think it's going to be worth more because of the dollar collapsing, I don't want to give it to them now. I'll start selling it at $2,000, not at 25 or 30. So that is the Bitcoin issue. Why will the stocks and housing go down? We talked about it a little yesterday, because as this loses value, how do I pay for things, right? My costs have gone up. Really not. The value of this has gone down, but I can't fuck with the market. Another option for crypto is you can have it in a cold storage wallet. Okay, you get to teach. What does that mean? I know what a safe in Zurich is. They have a vault in Zurich under the mountains that if a nuclear bomb were to go off, you're protected. So you give them all your gold and silver in this vault, and they'll get it out for you. And even if there's if a nuclear bomb happens, do I really want, I don't think my gold and silver will be worth anything, but will anybody be alive? So you need to explain cold storage wallet, or I'll have to watch an eBay on YouTube on it. But how are they going to hold value of crypto? It isn't. There's no. It's not. It's not divisible. It's not. It's not something you can hold. That's the problem with it. So, that's what I see is the issue with it. A stock, at least you own part of the company. Now, why will stocks go down? Because the cost. So I'm making cars. So let's go to market first. What's the market? The market's what is an auction place where prices are set by bids and sells. So I put, avocado at the market, and I say, I want to sell it. How do I know the price? The market sets the price. So what do I mean? Well, I'll put $1 out and see if somebody buys it. Nobody buys it. I'll make it 75 cents. I started to get people buying it. Okay, so the market says at 75 cents, I'll buy the avocado, but not at $1. That's the market. The market is the buyers buying what the sellers are selling. The sellers need to sell things that people want. So if I sell an avocado and nobody wants it, I can't sell it. This is a male investment. I can't be in business selling avocados because people don't want them. There is no price I can put on it. So that's your first lesson. That's Say's law, which says, do people want avocados? Yes. Okay, now I can sell it. Now, what do I get out of it? What does the market say? Well, the market says I can get 75 cents. What's my cost? If my cost is more than 75 cents, I can't be in the market because they won't pay me $1. If it costs me $1, I can only get 75 cents. I lose 25 cents, everyone. I got to be able to get this for like 35 cents. They'll pay me 75. Now that's the market. That's business. Now, if costs go up, now we're not even, let's pretend we make this. And now let's look at this knife. Okay. So now whatever this is, steel, I guess, and this. So if the price of this or the price of this went up, so let's say I can sell this for $5 and it cost me $3. And the market says I'll buy it for $5. So we're carrying on avocados as something we make. We need some screws, and we need the white thing, and we need the blade. And we need to sharpen it. So this cost me $3.50. I sell it for $5. Okay. Now my prices went up because of inflation. This now costs me $6 for everything, but the market says I'm only going to give you $5. Can I get the market to give me $8? You can try, but I'm in the market, and guess what? This says 100 on it, it's worth 10. I don't have enough money to give you more for it. So you make this, but you can't make money on it. So what happens to your stock? You report your earnings and you go, well, we lost money because our costs are over what the market will pay, and therefore we couldn't sell it. Sales drop, but you know what? Our costs, the lights, the heat, the people, the taxes, the property taxes, or we still have to pay it. So we can't generate enough revenue to handle the increase in cost. Therefore, our earnings, our financial statements show we didn't make money. What happens to our stock? You get buried, because the only reason you're in a stock is because it's making money. And you think it's going to make money, so you invest in the stock. If it stops making money, you don't want to be anything to do with the stock. That's why the market will crash. The second reason is we need money because this isn't worth as much. And I need to eat, I need to pay rent, I need to pay my utilities. But this 100 is only worth $10. I better sell something. Well, I got stock. I got 1,000 shares of Microsoft, so I'm going to sell 500 of them. Well, what's the stock market? It's a market. It's an auction house. All the stocks are auctioned as they go up and down. So if people think it's undervalued, they buy it. If they think it's overvalued, they sell it. You got the corrupt politicians buying and selling it under the table. It's called inside trading, which is illegal, but they're doing it anyway. So if they all dump out of it, then you're screwed. So this is the problem. So you're going to need money. So what do? You sell your stocks because it's an asset, kind of. I mean, it's got a value. It's like your car. It's really, it's a value, but it's you got to sell it to get the money out of it. Sort of like this. So when Bobby asked the question, what do I do when this goes to 2,000? What do you do with your car? If you need money with your car, what do? You sell the car to get the money. So you're going to sell this to get the money. And don't worry, there'll be demand just like anything out. There's demand for houses and cars, stocks. There'll be demand for gold and silver. Cold storage I am referring to is a little ledger device that only you know the codes to, and you can move crypto assets to and from your wallet to others, etc., without the code. Also, I had some avocado yesterday. Good stuff. Yes. I'm only going to give you good advice. Yeah, I agree. It's a lot of manipulation going on in these markets. So the bottom line, what I'm trying to say is you need, when I need money, what do I do? Well, I sell my assets. So I will sell my stocks. If I have to, I sell my car. If I have to, I sell my house. Whatever I have that's an asset. So a house is an asset. I'm telling you to buy this because it's dirt cheap. This should be $2,000 an ounce now, and who knows where it's headed. You can buy it for 23. That's why I tell you to buy this. Plus, it's an asset, and it's real money, and it's not going to go down to $10 like this is. That's why I do that. And that's the theory behind why, as if I tell you to bet the lock of the USC-Utah game over because you got two great quarterbacks, two great offenses, average defenses. There are going to be a lot of points scored, and it was 85. So it's the same. I'm giving you a theory, and then I'm backing it up, and then you see the results. You just don't see these results yet because the U.S. government says, no, buy this. Don't buy that. We don't want you to buy that. Buy this. Because we have a monopoly on this, we don't have a monopoly on that, and the Russians and the Chinese are buying this like shit through a goose. So that's why this is low, because the government wants the monopoly on crap money, not because the market says I'm only going to give you $5 for this. So keep that in mind. The market for this is probably about, let's say it's $1,000 right now, the real physical market. but the Comax is crushing it down where it's worth $18. Well, everybody in the world knows this is more than I just paid 35 for it, and it was a joke. And the guy said, "Sorry, it's expensive." This isn't expensive. This is at least $1,000, probably going to be a $2,000 coin. For $35, I'll buy all I can eat. All right. That's the thing. And then you buy this, and eventually this is like 80 to 1 to gold. It's supposed to be about 7 to 1. So what's going to happen is gold goes to 50. This is going to be what, 7 times that's, let's say 7,000 would be. So this goes to 7,000 because gold's at 50. What if gold goes to 100? This goes to, whatever, 20,000. That's the correlation between it. So eventually this 9 ounces of silver I just bought, I'm going to take this and I'm going to, let's say I need 7 of them. So I'm going to take 7. I'm going to take these 7 that I paid $23 with 35 a piece on, and I'll buy an ounce of gold with these 7 and get something worth 50,000 for something I just paid, 300 for. That's a lock. That's what I'm teaching, and that's what you guys need to understand. That's the point of the whole thing. Vanilla, yeah, I agree. It's a lot of yeah, okay. Hi, Carter. How are you? You just emailed me. I'd like to try an NBA tonight. Not a big NBA guy, but I can look at it. Do you have a suggestion you want me to analyze or what? I'm mostly football. I can give you football for this weekend, but an NBA teaser. I'll give you an NFL, but NBA I don't follow. I stopped watching after Magic Bird and Kareem left because the sport turned into crap. So if you want an NFL teaser, I gave a game yesterday, the college game. There's a college game tonight. I gave that out yesterday, which is to go over with App State, Georgia State. That should be a high-scoring game, and the over is only 60. You go over 54. Sure, Carter. Just give me that information, and we can walk through whatever you want. Here to help, obviously, as I'm doing. I don't get paid for this, and I don't benefit from it. I'm not a gold and silver store. If you buy silver, I don't get any commission. This is to help you because I know how handicapped everybody in America. Nobody knows this. This just blows my mind. And it really frustrates me enough to do this, to try to teach, because it's just unbelievable that they call it college and they don't teach this. It just blows my mind. The temperature there at App is freezing. North Carolina, freezing doesn't bother a score. What bothers the score is a hurricane. High winds will bother the score. The cold weather, if you watch the Ice Bowl in '67, they still put up 31 points with that. I mean, they'll eventually score. You think it's going to be 29 degrees? This football, Georgia State throws the ball. I can't see them not. I mean, Green Bay, they play in cold weather. They still score. I've seen high scoring Green Bay Packers, the Bears, the Vikings. Remember the catch, Staubach, Drew Pearson. Believe me, it wasn't even 10 degrees, and Staubach had no problem throwing the ball. I think what you got to look at is these are pretty explosive offenses. They're going to throw the ball. Yeah, it's cold, but these are football guys. These are guys that are used to getting hit and like to get hit, and the temperature doesn't really bother. They'll come out without sleeves. I mean, so I don't know. Yeah, I'll give you a call. Just send me your phone number. I'm in the middle now. I don't know. This is an open forum. So like Vanilla wants to talk about avocados, stocks, gold, football, whatever he wants to talk about, we can talk about. So I'm leaving this open. Normally, like tomorrow, I'll do college football, go through all the games. Um, Pro football. So a quick football talk. So I've got 3 games locked in the pros, and I've got 3 college locks. And well, I got two. I got a college lock and a college pro lock, and then I think a pro. I think I have 3 locks. But I'm going back to my old. I've been kind of away from my system, looking more at the over unders because it works so well in college, but it doesn't work in the pros as well. So I'm kind of going back to, play against San Diego, it wins. It's been winning every week, and I'm not really playing it. So I'm going back to that. This class is all. I think you're better than Steve Merrill. Who's Steve Merrill? Vanilla, what is this? This class as all. Has all? Yeah, this is, I'm very versed at a lot of things. Buy stocks. What amazes me is how most trends keep going when they're about past teams. Well, I try to. That's why I'm not using them as much, because you have Russell Wilson at Denver, and you have, when Peyton Manning left Indy for Denver, I threw out all the Indy trends and I threw out all the Denver trends because they were Tim Tebow. And then, but I tried to use the Indy trends in Denver, right? Saying, well, how did he do for 5-6 years at Indy? This is the type. But, you got coaches. And then what really kills me is all the coaches. So you have 11 new coaches, and how do you trend that? But like the Lions, they still suck as a road dog, right? They sucked as a road dog for every of these idiot coaches they've had. And the one common denominator is none of them have had head coaching experience. Marinelli and Schwartz, and now you get Patricia, and now this idiot. And you listen to the radio, and they're like, what the fuck do you mean? He needs time on the job. Why wouldn't you hire a head coach with experience that doesn't need it? I mean, go hire Jim Harbaugh. I know they did Urban Meyer, and I was shocked that didn't work out, but I don't know. I think he didn't want Trevor Lawrence. I think they made him draft him instead of Fields. He said, fuck you, because if he drafts Fields, he can run the Ohio State offense and defense, and I would think that would have worked. But because he had to take Lawrence sucks, so he kind of had to take him. I think that pissed him off. Remember, that is why Nick Saban left Atlanta, right? He goes to Atlanta. He had a better quarterback at Alabama, and he gets the job, and he says, well, I want Drew Brees. And at the time is when Drew Brees got hurt at San Diego, and then he goes to New Orleans. Saban wanted him. When he didn't go and he went to New Orleans is when Saban quit, because he knew he couldn't win with the quarterback was so bad at Atlanta. I mean, that's the problem. They do get better talent in college because they can recruit 5 stars. And look at the talent he has, but he has the system for it. And that's really the difference. But that's why I like an Urban Meyer. But there's a lot of good college coaches that at least have experience. The problem is these guys keep taking these. They're not even assistants. The Lions coach was a tight end coach. It wasn't even like he was an offensive or defensive coordinator. He's clueless. Oh, it's 4th down. I guess I'm supposed to go for it because this is what the analytics say. 4th and 3, it doesn't say the other team will get fired up that I disrespected them. It doesn't say the other team will get all the momentum and win the game if I go for it and don't get it. I.e. New England. Not only did I not get it, I fumbled. They ran it in for a touchdown on a play I should have kicked a field goal on and made it 6-3. So they're not understanding all the obstacles and all the options that happen off of not getting the 4th down. You've had 3 plays to get the 10 yards. Why do you think 4th and 3 you're going to get it all of a sudden when on 3rd and 3 you didn't gain a yard? Oh, but on 4th down you'll gain it. They're pissed off. You just disrespected them. And you just said, fuck you. Well, Bobby, it's probably like, getting an intentional walk to the guy in front of you, right? The batter in front of you gets intentionally walked. You're pissed off. You're like, fuck, they're intentionally walking him to get to me. I'll show you. I'm going to hit a 2-run homer. It's the same thing. The players they're so a lot of ego, and they think like that. And I know I used to play not at that level, but I know how it is, man. You get pissed off, I'll show you, and that's what you do. I do it here with football. I meant the class has it all, and in the professor teaches discuss it all times and ways to make money. Yes, thank you, Bobby. That's really what I'm here for. And I do it because I just don't find anybody teaches it. I find if you go to an investment guy, right? You go to Merrill Lynch or whatever they're called now, J.P. Morgan. They're not there to teach you. They're there to steal your money. Oh, I'll put you in this investment. I went to a stockbroker right after my class. Do you see my number? I'm not looking at my email now. I'm sorry. Where's my phone? I will tell you in a minute, Carter. I put it in on comments. What comments? Give me a call. The temperature is 0, 29. I don't see. Well, let's see. I don't see your number in the comments. Just email it to me. Oh, okay. I see. Oh, don't call me Mr. Robbins. Oh, yeah, I see it. Yeah, 205 number. Yeah, I got it. Mm-hmm. Not a problem. Yeah, I'll call you. I got it. So no problem. You're welcome. Yeah, no, I got it. I didn't want you to put it there in case you didn't, somebody starts calling you, but no problem. We'll talk. Where was I? So in football, so the coaches don't understand everything. And that's what I'm dealing with is trying to figure out the difference between the college trends, which I'm hitting like 90%. It's unbelievable. Pro trends that aren't working, going, oh, San Francisco against Carolina should be an under. They both are low scoring and the game goes over. And you're like, what the fuck? But I think it's just the coaches are so bad and they don't have, they're not getting coaches that have been there for a while. They're not even getting coaches with experience. And that I don't understand. Bobby, if you got a manager who never managed baseball before, you'd be like, what the fuck is this guy doing here? And you wouldn't respect him and you'd go, oh, just leave me alone. I'll bat third or fourth and I'll hit. I don't need you. And that's kind of what I look at as these football players. How serious can you take a coach that's never coached before? I mean, you got to just laugh at this guy. So that's what I feel it is. It's just not, it's just not there. I mean, I don't know. And there seems to be so many of these coaches, but anyway, that's what fucks the trends up, right? I'm saying that's what we're talking about. So where I have a trend like play against Detroit as a road dog, that seems to work. If I have a trend that says, bet against Denver as a home, or the one I like is bet against San Diego as a home favorite. It's still working. It's still alive. It's now 20-2. If I bet against San Diego as a home favorite, and they were a home favorite, and against Denver, and you took Denver, you won, and another game. So yeah, their coach sucks too. I mean, their coach was for fourth down. See, these guys don't understand the fourth down problems, right? You can't just go for fourth downs, and that's what they don't get. So it just, you just, what the fuck? Anyway, so that's what you try to do, all this to predict the game, and you see what wins and loses, and then you get away from the losing shit and you keep changing it. Now, I'm very good at pro football has changed a lot the last few years with the running quarterbacks, the go for fourth downs, the new coaches. So yes, that does hurt the regular trends, which is why I tried looking at these over-under trends that really betting. I don't want to bet against strong defenses is really what I don't want to do. And it works very well in college, but in the pros, you're just scratching your head going, what the fuck? So that's why I'm looking at different ways to skin the cat, basically. But I think I got it this week. I found 5 or 6 really good plays, like taking the Jets now going, well, fuck, they're not that bad. They just won at Green Bay. Okay, I'm giving them credit for that. So really, that's what you're trying to do with football. The analysis is to get the outcome. And if the outcome is right, then the analysis is good. And when it's wrong, the analysis, then you need a new analysis. You need to tweak it. So that's where I'm at. But I got it all in college. It's just boom. So again, I got 2 strong locks right away. I could see it as soon as I saw the lines. I said, "Oh, that's a lock." A lot of times that'll happen, and then always you got to check the injuries. And again, the same thing with the Kansas Baylor game is happening with the Kansas game last week, where Kansas, who were they playing? I don't remember. Oklahoma, and the quarterback was questionable for Oklahoma. And if you played, I was going to bet it over, and it would have been a lock, but I didn't know till Saturday, and I couldn't lock it. I had played Kansas over, figuring the guy wasn't playing. And the same thing this week. They played Baylor, and the quarterback got a concussion again against West Virginia. And again, I'm like, this is an easy lock over if he plays. But if he doesn't play, then I'm going to take Kansas. And again, I'm waiting. And again, he's questionable with the concussion. And so it's kind of freezing me out of betting Kansas over until Saturday morning when the guy's like, then I can see the line jump. So the line's 8-61. I think the line's 8-59 now. I think I was looking at it. So at that point, you're now, 8-59. Quarterback's probably not playing. How good's the backup? So I watched the West Virginia highlights. He's okay, but he's not as good as the other guy. And then how good's Baylor? And I think even with the quarterback, I think Kansas in 15 is a good play. They're underestimating my Kansas team, which we've bet on here, 5-6 weeks. We've free pick Kansas, win all over the place. So we'll just keep rolling with them. But anyway, that's that. So that's what I'm looking for. Carolina Panthers is sure. Well, a lot of the teams suck. Yeah, Carolina. I assume you're in North Carolina. Yeah, I mean they're just lousy. They're badly coached. They fired their coach. What does that tell you? Mayfield's out. PJ, well, who's their quarterback this week? I see PJ Walker is also questionable. I put in a 10 pick on NFL and Carolina plus 10 killed my ticket. Yeah, you got to be careful with that. Well, last week, didn't you tease them? If you tease them, you'd have won. You'd have had 16. That's why I do the teasers. They make losers winners. That's a shame. But yeah, I probably with PJ Walker, I don't know if I had taken him against the Rams. Yeah, I had that same thing. I had 9 college wins on 3 different 10-team teasers with the rest of the family, and San Jose State killed us. We had San Jose State -1 against Fresno State that lost to Connecticut, and they lost the fucking game. Otherwise, I hit 3 10-team teasers for like $5,000. So it happens, but that's what I find. There's always that one team. Maybe you shouldn't have played, or you could have played another after you. Oh, why didn't I play this team? But that happens. And I put $10 on 10 pick. It pays $12,000, and I had 9 wins. Okay, and these are straight, not teasers, I assume. So, and is this pros and college or just pros? Oh, 10 pick on NFL. Okay, sorry. So $10 on a 10 pick NFL. Well, we can do that. Does it give you over-unders also, or just the games? So many questions. Anyway, so that's what's going to happen in the stock market. So really what happens is interest rates raise the cost of the dollar. as things cost more, people don't print their own money and they don't have more of their own money. My last 4 of my straight 8 picks had 1 loss on each one. Yeah, I hear you. I the same thing. I've hit 3 5-teamers with my family so far this year, and I missed a couple of 10. I think I've missed 5 tenors by 1 pick. Drive me nuts. I play straight lines and totals and teasers. That's good. Teasers are the way to go. The 6-point teasers, because all my trends are in 6-point teasers. And when the games are fixed, the teaser will help you, because let's say the team's 7.5 and they fix it and they say, well, you can win by 7, but not 7.5. Well, if we're laying 1.5, we win the teaser, even though you lose the 7.5. I've seen that a whole lot. Or if you want to take a 2, usually it's best in a 2-point game, you get 8. And now you got a whole better chance of winning than you did in a, just trying to pick the winner in a 2-teamer. So keep that in mind also. So anyway, so as interest rates are the cost of money, they go up, they make it cost more. People still need money to survive. That's why stocks go down. That's why. So people can't afford their car payments because their car payment went up. Why they bought a variable rate car loan is beyond me. I heard a guy today at the coin store, and he goes, well, my friends are, I think their houses went up or something, or their car, something had went up. And I says, why would they do a fixed rate? Or why wouldn't they do a fixed rate? Why would you ever do a variable rate? You do understand if you do a variable rate, let's say it starts at 1, it's going to 3 for sure in the next year. That's what they do. They trap you in, and the rate always goes up, always. So he said, well, they could afford it at the low rate, but not the high rate. I go, then they couldn't afford it, because you can't assume that the low rate doesn't go up. You must assume it will go up. It's 100% guaranteed. If anybody gives you a variable rate, car payment, mortgage, whatever, and it's in at 2%, it's going to 4% the next year, 100% guaranteed. It's the way they sell the product. So anyway, that's what happens. So anybody watch the movie Margin Call? That's on Netflix. I've been watching that and laughing my ass off how stupid these people were. It's amazing how dumb people are. And they're trying to sell these mortgage-backed securities in the movie. They get stuck with them, and then people are defaulting because Clinton goes out and says, we're going to guarantee your bad loans. Well, who pays for that? The public. So you're guaranteeing that. Let's see. Is this? Who's calling? Texting. Okay. My girl in Romania always wants money. It's crazy. Always. No matter what, I can give her 100. I need more. Anyway, so in the movie Margin Call, they have these mortgage-backed securities, which means what happens is to get a higher rate, this whatever company, yes, it's hard to pick a team in NFL that's reliable. That's the problem, Vanilla. It used to be the Montanas and the Lawrence Taylors and Brady and Belichick, and you'd bet Bill Parcells and you'd bet Bill Walsh and Jimmy Johnson. You don't have, that's the problem. You hire a bunch of shit coaches, and then all they have is these running quarterbacks, which you don't know what you got with, what do I got with Jalen Hurts? I still don't know. What do I got with Kyler Murray? He runs. Oh, okay, that's great. They scored 9 points on Seattle, and he runs all over the place. It doesn't get you points. It doesn't get you wins. How do you bet on him? You can't even bet over and unders with him. So that is the problem, and I believe a lot of it is these coaches have never coached before, or they've been tight end coaches. They don't know how to hire their staff. The offensive and defensive coordinators are a bunch of idiots. They're like the Bitcoiners, right? If you got a portfolio manager, you got your money in a portfolio, and some idiot's managing it for you, he won't buy gold or silver. He'll buy you stock. The whole market's crashing. You don't want to be in stock. I'm yelling, get out of stock because they're all crashing because either the company's not going to make profits or people are going to need to dump to get money because they need their nice house and their nice car paid for. And they can only do it if they sell their stock or sell their assets or sell, and then the car payments are too much. So that's what's happening. But these idiot financial advisors aren't telling them to get gold and silver. What are they telling? Put your money in the stock, 60-40 stock and bonds. Yeah. Okay. And when this goes to zero and your stock goes out, now what is he going to pay? Is he going to reimburse you? No, he's not. Are you going to buy this? No, because he's not telling you to. And since you don't know what you're doing, you're just going to follow the crowd and you're going to say, well, gold and silver is no good. Yeah, I know this kid keeps telling me to buy gold and silver, but he doesn't know anything. He's only got a fucking master's in it, but he doesn't know anything. And then you go out and where's your financial planner? Where's he? Does he understand gold and silver? Fuck no. Can he even sell you gold and silver? He's going to buy an ETF for protection. You're like, no, that's not real physical gold and silver. I don't want it. I want this. I don't want that. That's the point. That's what they're not. So if they do that, they're giving you an ETF. You're fucked. But you don't know any better because you're listening because you think this guy knows what he's doing. I want you to ask your financial advisors, planners, or wherever the fuck you listen to for financial advice, what type of economics do they follow? And they'll probably look at you like, what the fuck are you talking about? If they do understand it and they say Keynesian, run, fire them, get out of it. Unless he says, I listen to Austrian economics, like the professor who has a master's in it, yes, I repeat it, then that's the only guy you should listen to, aka listen to me. If you have a financial advisor that does Austrian economics, then you can listen to him. Otherwise, run fast, get the fuck out of there. Say, are you going to guarantee my losses when the market drops? And he'll look at you like, well, no. Well, then fuck him. I mean, this is not, you worked hard for your money. Everybody here works very hard for their money. You don't mind spending it. You don't want to lose it because you listen to some idiot. So that's kind of my point here. So that's why I'm telling you to do this, because it'll save your ass. I'm going to save your ass. Everybody else doesn't give a fuck, and you're going to lose your money. This will go to zero. They'll come out with a new currency, probably not backed by gold. So this 100 will buy you 10 or 20. Let's say it buys you 20. Prices get reset to the 20s, and this goes through the roof. So you could be sitting on an island that you now own, or you could be going, fuck, I have to sell my house, my car, my Rolex. I don't have any stock. I had to sell all my assets just so I could survive. Or you could have bought gold and silver and watch them go up in value by 50 times. So that's what it is. So that's the problem with coaching. That's the problem with everything. You have people in there that don't have a clue. The whole government doesn't have a clue what they're doing economically. It's the whole fucking world, which tells me is a part of a plan. How could every country be so stupid? England, France, the UK, the Euro countries, Japan, they're all so stupid that they print their money to watch it go to zero. Really? Everybody is this stupid in every country, except for Russia, which says, I'm buying gold and silver. Putin's the only smart one, even though he's out of his mind for war for some reason. I can't figure out what he's still doing. Nobody can. But he's smart enough to buy 13,000 tons of gold. So economically, the guy has a brain, and does the Chinese. And that was Milton Friedman, who went to China and put them on the right track. So that's kind of what it is. I wanted to read this thing on Adam Smith real quickly. Adam Smith, he's the man. And Adam Smith, if you want to be rich and have a nice society and live in a nice place, Adam Smith's the man. He taught division of labor and productivity. which means Bobby's a baseball player. I'm an economist, football players, auto mechanics. Everybody does their own little thing, and the group will be better prepared for it. Doctrine of the invisible hand. People should be free to make money by producing what the people want, the demand, by self-interest. Supply goes up, prices go down. Best way to spread wealth, not by taxing the shit out of it and printing money like there's no tomorrow. Also, productivity goes up, prices will go down, is the best for the public. That's what we want. We want competition, free markets. You make whiskey, I make whiskey, the best whiskey, the price drops, people benefit from a low price and high quality. That's it. That promotes the common good. The economy is automatic. You just tell me what you want, that's what we'll do. Like right here, Carter wants my help on picking games, so he came to me. That's the economy. I didn't ask for it. He knows, boom, 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 and that's what's happening. Laissez-faire. What the hell is laissez-faire? People make fun of this. Pisses me off. Leave it alone. Let it happen. Keep the government out of the way. Prices drop. Standard of living goes up. Free trade is critical. Free trade means, oh, you want this? I'll trade this to you, and there's no charge. There's no tax. There's no tariff. You can have it, and I want something of you. I want $35 for this. And you say, fine, here's $35. I give you this. There's no taxes. There's no tariffs. We're both happy. We both got what we wanted. That's free trade. Then it gets into other things. That's basically Adam Smith. Those are the keys. He's very brilliant. There's a YouTube on him. But that's the things that you need to know the most to live a good life. Is that, but it works everywhere. It works in football. It works in stocks. What do you want? What stock do you want to buy? A monopoly. I don't want to buy competition. That's why JP Morgan wants the monopoly. He can't handle the competition. He knows without competition. So let's go back to my Canadian club. In a free market Adam Smith world, you have Crown Royal over here and Canadian Club. And I want to do better than you, so I make a better product and I sell it cheaper. They sell it cheaper, boom, boom, boom. Who wins? The guy buying the whiskey. Well, what if I'm JP Morgan and I got a monopoly? This goes up in price. I don't give a shit about the quality because you're going to drink it because that's all you got. This price goes up to $200 a bottle instead of the $50. There's no competition, so I'm going to make money at it. But what you don't realize, it's only good if you need it. So if nobody needs whiskey and you have a monopoly and it gets too expensive, they just won't buy it, right? That's why you hear the gold standard for products. Saks Fifth Avenue was like, there's no substitute. All that is to be a monopoly. That's what marketing tries to do, saying, oh, no, you can't. I'm the best. There's no competition for me. Ferrari. There's no, I don't know. There's no, I'm the best one. And that's why you have that. That's why they market like that, because they want it. You can't substitute it. This is what it is. Carter, does the lottery have a stock? I think it's run by the government, so I'm going to say no, I don't think so. What you go to drink, Howard? I will drink this for the birthday or Christmas or New Year's. Otherwise, I tend not to. I'll drink water, diet pop, tea. I keep in mind sugar is extremely bad for you, as we talked on an earlier show, where the high fructose corn syrup. You look, I don't know if they'll give ingredients here. Yes. Let's see. No, it just says that this isn't healthy. This is carefully selected barrel blended whiskeys are matured for 12 years to create blend. Now, it doesn't really, what it does is it takes like corn or potatoes and they ferment. So all that sugar comes out. That's how they make whiskey and wine and all that. They make wine by taking the grapes and they just sit for 6 months and they ferment and they become very sweet. That's what it has. So I will drink that, but only occasionally because I just can't really handle the sugar. And, I don't need to get drunk. I get more high when I pick a winner. When I hit the lock, I'm very, very high from that. So I don't really need alcohol to get high. Well, my girlfriends will drink. I don't care. I don't control them. If they want to drink, they can drink, but I tend not to. But I would drink that. Maybe some vodka and Coke or something like that. But I'm not a big drinker. I don't know. I just never really wanted to get drunk and lose control type of thing. Bonilla, do you think any baseball cards are valuable from back in the day? I often think, damn, I remember keeping these in plastics thinking they're going to be worth so much in the future. Bobby, it's based on player. Now, McGuire and Bonds had a value, but then this whole steroid thing killed them. If you have 1960s or anything in the 60s, but it's got to be in good condition. So where I used to think the cards were worthless, if they're graded and they're PSA 10, let's take a Joe Montana card. All right, 1981 rookie card. Yeah, if you look in Beckett, it's worth, I don't know, $100. If it's a PSA 10, it's worth 100,000. PSA 9 is worth 10,000. If it's not graded by PSA, it doesn't have that big of a value either. So if the card is a 10 and graded, all of a sudden your Montana rookie card that you thought wasn't really valuable is worth $100,000. So is Jerry Rice. So is John Elway. So is Marino. Shows Marcus Allen, Lawrence Taylor's about $20,000. Cards that you think are worth nothing, but they've got to be PSA 10s. If they're 9s, they don't have the value. Not like that. So I'm sitting on a Montana that pretty sure will be a 9. It's a little off center to be a 10. I've showed it on another show, but I can pull it out and we can look at it tomorrow. But basically, that's the thing. So it all depends on the player. McGuire and Bonds lost value because of the steroid shit, which I don't really understand why they're both not in the Hall of Fame. The Cal Ripken Jr. rookie cards are worth a ton, again, as PSA 10, not Beckett 10, not anybody else 10. For some reason, they've got to be PSA 10s. And I basically thought my cards weren't worth anything. I got the Montana card that's worth $60, And then I stumbled one day, I was looking at I found a box of Marvel cards from 1990. And I was just curious what they're worth. All of a sudden, every card's worth like $2,000 as PSA 10. Stan Lee, Spider-Man, Iron Man, all these movies came out, made all these cards go up in value. And one day I stumbled onto the Montana. No, I was at a gold store in Ann Arbor. I'm about 20 minutes away from them. And the guy pulls out a Sandy Koufax rookie. And it's not in great shape. He says, what do you think this is worth? So I go on eBay and I look at Sandy Koufax, 1956 or whatever. And I said, well, if it's a PSA 7, it's worth $17,000. God knows what a 10's probably worth, $500,000. And he showed me the card. And that's when I showed him the Rice for $100,000 and the Montana for $100,000. And all of a sudden it got interesting. But it depends on your player. If you have Ripken, Clemens with the same thing, his value went down. Clemens, Bonds, McGuire, Sosa is ridiculous. Now in the 90s, if you have a score Barry Sanders, you got a couple thousand. The Emmett Smith scores a couple. Nothing like the Montana and the Rice cards. Then we get into the 90s and we start getting limited cards. And that was my idea. I'm at a card show, huge card show. And I go to the guy and he worked for Beckett. And I says, well, what we need is like a stock exchange because of the constant buying and selling. And you have all these different markets. So I might buy a card from this guy for $100, but Beckett shows it at 150 or 50. I give him so we're going off of Beckett, but Beckett's really not graded. And I said to them, and then I said, well, if these cards were limited, they'd be worth more. And out came the limited cards, 1998, the tops, red labels. And I got like some hockey. I got like a Gretzky, and it was like count, and they're numbered like 10 of / 25. So they only made 25, and then those are worth a lot. And like I said, I have the Eiserman 1/1, which I can show you tomorrow, and it says 1/1, and I bought it for 170. That I don't know if I need to get a graded PSA 10 or not, but those graded because they're numbered, they're limited, and as long as demand outseeds supply, you're going to have a lot there. I know there was a Jaeger 101 I saw, I didn't buy, unfortunately. So it's the Gretzky's, the Lemieux. So hockey has some good value. So it depends. Like I said, now I stumbled onto about a $90,000 Brady rookie card. It's a Bowman Chrome refractor, and I can show you that. And I've done a show with this where I show the cards, but it's a beautiful card, and it's a refractor. And I've not found the refractor on eBay, but I've seen the regular card on eBay. PSA 10 is worth $20,000. The refractor has got to be worth at least $80,000, and I got it, and I'll show you. And it's perfect, so it should get a PSA 10. I just got to get it graded. And that I'm going to probably put it out for $100,000 and say, or best offer. And I think that's the way you sell those. I don't think you auction them on eBay. I noticed if you put best offer, then you will get an offer for it. So if I put $100,000 for the Brady refractor PSA 10, I might get an offer of $90,000. I'm like, fine. But if I auction it off, I don't know what I'd get. So if I started the auction at 1,000, would it get to 80,000? I don't know. I've never seen it. It's extremely limited, but not numbered. So depending on the player and the number, and it's always been that way. So I was married, and we went to a card show in 1991 when we first started. And the way my brain worked, I go, oh, fuck, I should get the rookies tended to have more value because they hadn't had the limited cards yet. So I went back and got a lot of 86 basketball and a lot of 87 basketball because those are really limited, but hard to get centered, or at least that's what the dealers didn't bring out, the really smooth centered ones. And then I went back and got the 81 Montana and 86 Rice. And then I started going back into the 60s, getting Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, some Pete Roses, a lot of Clementes. They seem to have K-lines, Koufaxes. I got a lot of Koufaxes people had. And my wife was the eyes saying, make sure they're as close to perfect as you can get it. So we really only bought mint condition cards because I knew the better the condition, the more they're worth. And, $50 for a 65 Mays, that's freaking probably at least an 8. So I'm like, okay, that's what we did. We went after those. So it was really the player, and then it was the condition. So you want to get a Willie Mays, get it as close to PSA 10 as you could. But back then there wasn't graded cards. It was just starting. So you couldn't get a PSA 10 Willie Mays at a card show. You couldn't find it. They didn't have them yet. I think it came out late 90s where you started getting the cards graded. And so that's what you looked at. So it's, again, supply and demand. Using my mind, I got to go after the stars, and then because that'll be demand. Who wants Don Wirt, who played on the 68 Tigers? How much am I going to get for a mint condition Don Wirt? But I would get a mint condition Willie Mays. I know there's going to be demand for that. I should have bought more Mantles, but they were expensive back then. It'd be $300-$400, and I was like, maybe I'll pay $100. That's about it. I'm not going to pay thousands or $500-$600 on that. Had I known, I would have bought all the mint condition Mantles I could find at $500. I wouldn't be working right. I'd be living on an island, and you think the gold and silver is worth anything. So you almost, I know dealers that was their IRAs. They bought Mantles, they bought sets that were really limited, and it was always get gem mint condition. So Bonilla, I never liked that whole steroid thing because Barry Bonds was already a great hitter, There are more to home runs than just power. Well, I don't think steroids, and you know better than anybody, really helped you hit McGuire because you took a steroid, couldn't hit home runs. I mean, it didn't help you hit the ball out. It didn't improve your eyesight and your hand-eye coordination. It maybe healed his injuries, but who gives a shit? Well, you don't think Mantle and the whole Yankees drank, but yet his cards, if you can ever find a Ruth, a Gehrig, or a DiMaggio card, and those are old cards, you can ever find those cards. I got a 61 Ruth with Ted Williams, but that was part of the 60 or 61 Flair. I did buy it graded, like a PSA 7 or 8. It's worth a little bit, but that's all I've seen in Ruth, not a 1930 Gaudy that if you ever found that in PSA 9, you'd never have to work again. You'd be multi-millionaire. I mean, look at that Tris Speaker 1907 card. It's like a PSA 3, but there's only 7 of them. So that was the card Gretzky and McNull bought, and then they sold it for $3 million. It's probably $10 million now. So, I mean, if you can get those old cards, one card that I did get, which you'd like, is a Jim Brown 1959. His rookie was 58. 1959. This card's beautiful. This is probably a PSA 9. It's probably worth a pretty penny. I got to get them. Most of mine I haven't gotten graded yet because I'm really scared of that PSA. Are they real honest? So if I give you, for example, let's say I had a PSA 10 Mickey Mantle card. This card's beautiful, right? And I'm thinking, well, if I turn it in, there's no way I'm getting that card back. The guy grading it's going to take the card, grade it 10, put it in his pocket, find another card, grade it 8, and give it to me. That's my fear with PSA, that if I give them a real sharp Mantle or Mays or somebody, Koufax, am I going to get that card back? And you can't take a picture because you can't write on the card. You can't number the card number 7. I can't put HR on the card. It ruins the value. Never autograph one of those cards. Take a bullshit card and get it autographed. Don't ever autograph. You got a 68 Mantle. Don't fucking get it. Go buy a 90, replica Mantle and get that autographed. Although, obviously, you can't get it autographed by him. But let's say Tom Brady, never take a nice rookie that's worth $10,000 and get it autographed. No. Get just the Topps 2022 card and get that autographed because it ruins the value because now the card's written on and it's not perfect condition. You fucked up the value of the card. Don't ever get it autographed. I remember I took my kids when they were young to a Tiger game and they were playing Frank Thomas. And I was the only Detroit there with a Chicago, the White Sox, Frank Thomas. And he was very nice. He came over to the stands about a half hour before the game. He was signing autographs. And I just kind of threw him his card and he took them and he signed them for me. And I always, I love that about him. And but they weren't his great, 1990 Leaf PSA 10s. They were like 92 scorecards that were worth, $5, but I got his autograph twice. So that was really cool of him. He was real nice to do that. But that's what you have. So again, you want limited, you want gem mint. They got to be PSA 10s. So it's just by star player. It's really by what will be demanded. Mantle will be demanded. Gehrig, DiMaggio will be demanded. The steroids suck because all those great players. Somehow Ripken avoided that because he got 2,000 hits, and his are gold. So you get a rookie of his. He's got 4. He's got a Flair, a Topps. The Topps traded 82, and they're all worth a ton, especially PSA 10. Outside of that, now it's like I don't even waste. Will Joe Burrow be great? I love him. He's a great quarterback. What he did in the SEC, beating Alabama and Georgia and Clemson and all those great teams. But he's got to win at least 2 Super Bowls, and then his rookie card will be like Brady's. But until then, my friend Nick, he likes him, and he wants to buy the Joe Burrow cards. And I kind of hold him back on wait till he wins the Super Bowl because he could turn into a Lamar Jackson where he's got no value because he doesn't even win playoff games. So we're there. The press is trying to hype up Lamar. He don't win big games, as you saw against Buffalo and as you saw last week against the Giants. How the fuck do you lose against the Giants? And he threw that bad interception. He doesn't win the game. Nobody cares about him. Yeah, okay. He had a good year, but even Peyton Manning doesn't. He did win 2 Super Bowls, but the Denver one doesn't count. That was defense, and he won the one Indy one, but he lost to Brady all the time. That's why Brady has the value. So you got to figure what demand is. The Jordan rookie. You could have bought the Jordan rookie 2 years ago in March for $30,000. Now it's worth $1.5 million. All of a sudden it jumped, and you couldn't explain it, but it's the 86 Flair. If you ever can get that, Bobby, I mean, I don't know what you'd pay for it, but the 86 Flair was so off center. You couldn't find me and my wife at the time went through, I'm not married, that's why I say at the time, we went through probably 1,086 Flares to get anybody perfectly centered, and they were all fucked up. They're all off center. Flair did a horrible job. That's why the Jordan's cards were so much. There's probably 20 that are PSA 10s because it was such bad auditing. The quality control, they were letting the cards out that weren't centered. So it'd be way off left or right or top or bottom, and that kills the value. So now they're OCs, and that kills the value right there. So anyway, that's what you have with that stuff. Williams, I'm fine. How are you today? Barry Bonds, absolutely. And he doesn't get credit for hitting the home runs. I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame. Wong teaser takes Saints +8, Patriots -1. Yeah, I agree with that. I like the Saints tonight, although check on the injury. Dalton's got a back injury, as does Winston. I'd prefer Dalton than Winston. They're questionable, so I'm sure that one of them will play. I'm hoping it's Dalton. Then you still have Taysom Hill, who can come in a pinch, or they'll run Kamara. But yeah, Arizona is just pathetic, and the New England should beat the Bears as long as they don't go back to Jones and they keep. So the key is, will they keep going with Zappy? As long as they keep going with Zappy, without Zappy, and as we talk trends, it's almost like you need a Zappy trend and a Jones trend, and you need it for all these teams that you get the injury. Even in college, the guy gets in. Well, I mean, look, you had a trend with Miami last year. First 3 games, they sucked. They're an under team to bet against. All of a sudden, here comes Van Dyke. You got to throw everything out now. Here's Van Dyke. And you almost don't trend it. You just say, Van Dyke's playing, we're betting it over. The same thing with Utah. They were nothing. And then Rising came in, and Rising lit it up. And you can see how good Rising is. I mean, it kills me when I hear these idiots on sports radio in the car, and they'll go, oh, you get Bryce Young, the #1 pick. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? Did you see Hooker from Tennessee, Rising from Utah, Van Dyke at Miami? Have you seen these guys play and you want to go to Bryce Young? Are you fucking kidding me? These guys are if these guys were at Alabama, they'd have 100 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Sanford Wong. I've never heard of them. I don't really listen. Dallas Saints, Raiders, Pats. They are saying Raiders, Pats. Yeah, I mean, well, I like New England as long as that's in. Dallas, I don't like him with Prescott as much as I like him with Rice. Prescott will turn it over too many times. However, the Lions suck and they don't win on the road. I think Dallas -1. I think you're okay. The Raiders, I don't trust the Raiders. They're playing Houston. Jacksonville is lousy. Oh, no, that's Jacksonville and the Giants. The trends is Houston in the game. Oakland is not a good home favorite. Houston, I have no idea what the fuck they are. I like the New England. I like the New Orleans. And I like the Pats. That's what I said. Dallas, I like less with Prescott and Oakland. I don't know that I trust them at all. Houston went to Jacksonville and beat them. I would tell you to jump on the Giants and the Jets before I jump on to Oakland. I haven't played Oakland. They're not a good home favorite. They're a good bet against team in a teaser. It's again getting the 13 in Houston, but I don't know. See, that's the thing. I don't. That's where the trends come in that I use. So I'd stay away from Oakland. But who's this Stanford Wong? Isn't he this idiot that says, "Oh, never go over zero and all," and I only play sevens down under three and over seven and stuff like that. See, he doesn't get it. That doesn't necessarily work. Um, you've got to look at the matchup of the game and play the game. And then if you get a better, like last week, I like Tampa over Pitt because I rated Pitt really bad. And the spread was 8.5, and I liked Pitt under 3. But when it went to 9.5, I did not like Pitt as much. And so that's my point. So I will say that from that standpoint, but that's not him. That's just general strong teaser betting. Get it under 3, get it over 7, get it under 10. Tease 7, 8, or dogs 1 and 2. Well, see, that's too general. Of course, but you've got to see the teams. What I feel this guy does is he blindly picks sevens down to 1 or eights down to 2 or twos or threes over 7 and 8. And I think he blindly does it, like in the Oakland game. I don't think he's looking at the Oakland-Houston matchup. That's the problem I have with this guy. He's just blindly seeing, oh, New England 7, I'll make them 1 and I'll take them. Okay, that might work against Chicago. I'm not sure it's going to work Dallas, Detroit with Prescott or Oakland. I don't think he's going to win all those. Houston could easily upset him. Again, the NFL is so unpredictable that who knows? Go Yankees tonight. I thought, how many games do they play? Is this a 7-game series or the 5? I don't know. I watched a little bit. I saw they were up 5-1 yesterday. I was at the club. I was on the bike, and then I went swimming. So I don't know. Don't really have time for baseball now with so many football games and all my stats and everything else. I got to really focus on football during football season. And that's more my passion anyway. Baseball. All I can say about baseball is bet teams with their backs against the wall. So if the Yankees are up 3-0 or 3-1, then I might bet Cleveland because they have to win and the Yankees don't. But I think baseball's all pitching. I think you a good pitcher will shut you down, and you got to respect that. And a bad pitcher you can hit. And I know it's psychological, and that's what the managers don't get. If you got a good pitcher, you're facing Verlander, you're not hitting this guy. And when they take him out, you're like, thank God they took him out. I can hit this guy. That's really the key to it is that's why you don't do a pitch count with guys like Verlander. You know the other team's psyched out. You cannot do that. All the top teams choke in baseball. Well, that's because their managers pull their aces. Go to the Tigers, right? A couple years ago they had Price, Verlander, and Scherzer, and they shut out Boston through 8 innings in every fucking game, and the manager pulls them for the reliever that couldn't get a high school team out. And the reliever blew all 4 games, and they lost the series because the manager took out the superstar pitcher who were all pitching shutouts. Boston couldn't get a hit on any of them, and yet in the 8th inning, he go, I got to go to the bullpen, and he brings in this guy, and he lost every game. And you're looking at the manager like, which team are you managing? Are you betting on Boston? Because it was so obvious and so stupid that you would pull the ace out knowing. I played baseball, not at your level, but I played baseball, Pony Colt, Babe Ruth till I was like 16. And, there were certain pitchers you're glad when they weren't pitching and you knew you weren't going to hit them. And it was just, that's what happens. And you You don't take out a Verlander in the eighth inning. I'm sorry. Sorry, this is why we pay you $20 million is to get these guys out. Not, I can't even stand this 5 inning, 6 inning crap. Oh, you pitched 100 pitches, you got to come out. You might hurt your hand. Give me a fucking break. These are professional athletes. I could pitch 100 pitches when I was 13 years old. I didn't know how to pitch, but I could pitch. In other words, I could throw the ball over the plate, but I had no idea like curveball and fastball and inside, outside, up and down, that kind of like I didn't know how to pitch, but I could throw the ball pretty fast over the plate and get people out. That's about all I knew about pitching. But again, they don't teach you that shit. You'll like this story, Bobby. So I'm coaching my girls' softball team, and the first few years is slow pitch. And when they hit sixth grade, it becomes fast pitch. And nobody knew how to coach the pitchers. I went and bought a video of Jennifer Finch's coach at the University of Arizona, how to pitch. And I got a net in the backyard and I kept pitching. And the hard part is the snap. You open your shoulders to get your arm around, and then you snap them shut, and then you snap at the hip. And that's how you throw the pitch. But if you snap early, it goes into the ground. And if you snap late, it goes over the head. So you got to snap it exactly at the hip to make the ball go like that. And then the different grips made it curve or rise balls, drop balls. And I learned that. It took me about 3 months. Now I pitched baseball and played second base and a lot in baseball. And I learned how to fast pitch, girls fast pitch. And then I would teach the girls like I teach here. I like teaching. And then all the girls would come up to me. And if I see him, I could, so in like seventh grade, my daughter's playing, and no, it was my youngest one now was in sixth grade, and I could walk around the 6 or 7 fields and see all the other teams, and I could tell you right away if the pitcher could pitch or not if they opened their shoulder, and none of them opened their shoulders. So if you didn't make this move, you couldn't get the velocity and do that. They would just be throwing like this. And I would go up to the girl and kind of go, try opening your shoulder. And that was really the secret, because if you opened the shoulder, you could make the rotation. And but nobody teaches it. Geez, there's so many things that nobody asks the question why. And that's the lesson I teach in my class is you must ask the lesson why. Why are we raising interest rates? Why did Denver San Diego play 19-16 game on Monday night? Why did Tampa lose to Pittsburgh? You have to ask the why. Don't just take the result. You got to dive in and go, what the fuck happened? How did Tampa lose to Pittsburgh? Bad coaching. Tampa's coaching sucks since they got rid of the old guy. They got in the new guy who sucked at the Jets, is sucking here, and he's sucking up. Their offense is terrible. There's no receivers. The offensive line sucks. Brady keeps getting sacked. That's why. So I can't bet Brady. I was listening to the show, Tampa, Carolina. Tampa's 10.5 point. I wouldn't touch that. Now, the question is, who is Carolina's quarterback? Because I see them all hurt. P.J. Walker's listed as questionable with a concussion. We know Mayfield's out. Sam Darnold's now listed as questionable. So one of these guys is going to come, but it ain't going to be Mayfield. So that's what you got to see is who the quarterback is. But I don't even want to touch Tampa laying 10 to a team without a quarterback because their offense sucks. It might be an under game. The over-under is 40.5. Maybe you go under 46.5. Dodgers had the best record in the league and lost quickly because they don't have pitching. They don't understand. They don't have the pitching. They have enough hitting to beat all the weak teams. But when you get into the playoffs, it's like football, right? Lamar Jackson can get you in the playoffs, but in the playoffs, the defenses are way too strong for him, and he can't do his little running action, and therefore he doesn't win the game because he can't throw the ball. You need Brady wins all the Super Bowls because he's fucking accurate and he doesn't scramble. He knows how to slide and avoid the rush, and boom, boom, boom. He hits the guys in the numbers. That's how you win, and that's not what Lamar Jackson does. That's what the Dodgers don't have the pitching to do it. And that's why they never win in the playoffs. And then Kershaw always chokes. Everybody's, he just has that unique delivery that now everybody sees and knows how to hit with the little quirky, herky-jerky motion that worked in the beginning because you're used to a smooth throw, not this, oh, I'm going to stop and then throw. But everybody's figured that out, so now it doesn't really matter. So that's what you've got to ask the why. Why are we inflating the money? Why aren't we on the gold standard? Because the governments are corrupt and they want to print and take the money for themselves. So they'll print millions of dollars and shove it away. But if they're on gold and silver, you can't print this. You can only, I can't copy this even with a 3D printer. This is what it is. I can't fuck around with it. There's only so much gold and silver in the world. That's why it has value, and that's why the governments don't want it, because they can't print it. Now, you can still put out a currency backed by gold and silver, but it restricts you. I can't just print unlimited. And because the Keynesian economists are in control, that's what they want to do, is print it. How they got in control is beyond me. They should all be shot, because they are just stealing and lying to everybody, and it's killing. They're going to kill millions of people who are going to starve and go bankrupt. And it's really a shame, and it's really sad. And these people are not going to be held accountable for it. It's the Russian-Ukraine war, which we started. Yeah, that's the reason for the inflation and why everybody's going to starve. Carter, it's now serious playoffs for Enter World Series. Houston with Verlander versus the Yankees tonight. Over under 7. Just take Verlander, period. Goodbye. That's it. No question. Hopefully he gets to pitch the whole game, as I've been discussing. The question of the over under goes to who the Yankee pitcher is. Now, they had that good pitcher and they traded him, and then they got rid of their ace in the bullpen. So hard to see the Yankees. Verlander will shut him out. If the Yankees have a good pitcher, then you can bet the game under, because he'll keep Houston down. Otherwise, you've just bet Houston with Verlander. And I know the money line. Well, I don't know how much the money line will be, because it's against the Yankees and then where the game's at. But Verlander will win the game, provided they let him pitch all 9 innings and don't baby him with, well, you're at 100 pitches, your arm's going to fall off, even though you pitch every 10 days now. It's so hard to watch baseball now, Bobby. It's just so freaking hard. So who's the Yankee pitcher? And I want his ERA, and then maybe you can bet it under. But I just bet Houston with Verlander, and just that's it. Game's over. I don't know. I was on a roll. So that's really what else can I think of? Try to not listen to these idiots, because they're going to. Vegas wants you to bet on Oakland, so they're going to give you Oakland, and you might like Houston, or the other way around. Or Vegas knows all the money is going to go on New England over Chicago, right? And they're going to – you got to be careful of a fix there. Let's say it goes to 9, and somehow New England wins by 8. That's why we tease, because – in the fix, they won't, it's 7.5. You can win by 7, but no more. But they don't fix it in a teaser world. They don't say, well, you can win by 1, but no more. They say you can win by 7, but not 7.5. And that's really why in a fixed game, the teasers are really okay. And with all our trends, even if they are fixing them, we got the trends. So we know, even if it's fixed in a teaser, we're okay. That's really the beauty of the teaser. But like I said, I got 3 locks going. Yes, I'm taking inflated dollars when I ask for my price. But it's again 3 locks, and I want you to bet different amounts on different games. That's why I make the units higher. Because there's no way you can win betting two team teasers with different teams and go 4-0. You're going to go 3-1, and you're going to break even and lose two. So you got to bet more on the better team. Refs fixed that, absolutely. That holding call, pass interference, roughing the passer. Fuck, I watched roughing the passer. The guy stole the ball from the quarterback, and they called roughing the passer on it. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? NBA are good for overs. Probably I'd say Golden State, but yeah, teams. Well, you got to watch the over/under totals on the teams, right? Every team's going to have they score 110, they give up 120, and just bet the bad defenses. I find that's the best way to do it. Just find the best defenses, take the high scoring team against the worst defense, and just bet it. Yes, NBA is a good for over, except for Dallas. There you go, Dallas and the Jazz. So those are the teams to avoid the overs on. Those are the teams with probably good defenses. So that's what you want to look for. And like LeBron James gets every freaking call in the world. I couldn't watch when LeBron James came into the league and he could run through the lane, and if anybody touched him, it was a foul. I couldn't watch it anymore. I watched the Pistons crush Jordan. Rodman would knock him down, Isaiah, Dumars, and it was not – he got knocked down. Keep playing, boys. That's when you lost me, when LeBron – foul. Are you a foul? Are you kidding me? I couldn't watch it. I watched Golden State a little bit, but it's too boring. Everything's a 3-point. Again, because it worked for Golden State with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, doesn't mean it's going to work for the Pistons or the Knicks or the Yankees or half of the Celtics. It's not going to work for them. They don't have shooters. So whatever happened to Kareem and Wilt and getting it into the post and skyhooking, that seemed to work well for Kareem for 20 years. NBA ref went to jail. Yeah, I know that, and they still do. And it's like the J.P. Morgan guys for fixing the derivatives, keeping gold and silver down. They got found guilty when we're waiting for the sentencing, but they probably won't go to jail because J.P. Morgan owns the Fed, and they're the ones who probably put them in jail. So, but it is public that they're price fixed. So again, it's conspiracy theory is price fixed. And then it comes out, yeah, we've been price fixing. So is it really a conspiracy? No, it was the truth. And that's what I don't like, is a lot of things that are true, people won't believe because the government told them no. And you've got to always ask that question. What the fuck's going on? It doesn't make sense. It smells wrong. It is wrong. So when you see Pitt and Cleveland and they do the lateral play, which can never work, only on a kickoff, when you can have 10 option quarterbacks, can it work? Because the linemen are going to get in the way. It can't work in the pros. And then you see them throw it in the end zone and move away, and then it's the touchdown. Does that smell right? No. Does that seem like it's fixed? Yes. So that is obvious when that happens. It's clearly a fix because it doesn't look right. And that's what you got to question shit. And you got to question this whole, this is now worth 10. We need to take a zero away from this because this is really only worth $10 now, not 100. But it says 100 on it, so it must be worth 100. Oh, okay. And how many ounces of silver is it going to buy soon? It buys 3 now. And then soon you're going to need 10 of them to buy 1 ounce. That's when you'll finally figure out it doesn't have a value. With humans involved, it will happen. Greed. I don't agree on greed. There's nothing wrong with greed. If you make 50,000 at your job and you want to make 60, is that greed? No, that's you figuring out what the market is for your skill set, and you make more. because you want more does not make you greedy, and there's nothing wrong with greed. Greed is actually good because, okay, I'll show you, I'll work harder, and I want more customers for Teaser King. Is that greedy? No. I want to make people money. I'd rather make more people money. Or that's why I do a live show. I do a live show to teach people. Is that greedy? No. Am I helping for another 100 customers? Yeah. Is that greedy? No. Because if I make them money and my incentive is to make them money, that's not. So there's nothing wrong with greed. Greed's okay for the right reasons. Greed's bad when you hurt people. And when you print money, when the government prints money and devalues the money to worthless, it's not greedy, it's just criminal. And they should all be thrown in jail for it. But it's not really greedy. They're just, and if I tell you to buy, a bunch of silver and I tell you to buy more silver, am I greedy because I bought another 9 ounces of silver today? Am I greedy because I bought 9 more of these? Am I greedy? I like to think I'm intelligent, that I want to get my money out of US. I'd rather have the silver than this because this is going to zero. Is that greedy? I don't think so. I think that's highly intelligent, not greedy, but wanting more of this, maybe you can consider it greedy, but I don't know how much I need. And I got girlfriends to take care of. And, so I don't know. One of my girlfriends is pregnant, having a kid, not my kid, but I'm going to give her some silver and gold to take care of the baby because all hell is breaking loose and to take care of her. Is that greedy? No, I'm trying to help her. So there's a method to my madness. He probably will pitch complete game. Yeah, I would just bet Houston. Talion, what's Talion's ERA? Is it low? I mean, if he's got like a 2-something ERA, I could maybe bet it under. If the where's the game at? Houston and New York, and then what's the temperature? Here it's cold. We already know North Carolina's cold, so then we got to go. If it's in New York, that could affect it, but if it's in Houston, it won't. It's harder to hit in cold weather. I know that. Bobby knows that too. Talking about crooked greed, Talion allowed 2 runs or less. Allowed 2 runs. Was the ERA 2.0? What's his ERA? Our government, short term, you're right. I don't know what I'm talking about there, but I'm right. Okay. If I could win about $50K, I would pay my daughter's college tuition off. So that's not greedy. That's intelligent. Long-term, short, long terms, and P500 winner. I don't know what that means, Williams. 5 years or more. Help me out, Williams. What are you talking about? Long-term S&P 5. Oh, long-term S&P 500 winner, 5 years or more. I disagree with you 100%, Williams. Stocks, what we're headed for is a tidal wave, and it is going to bury everybody. And I don't see the S&P 500 in 5 years being close to where it is now. You got to forget stocks. You've got to get your mind off of stocks as a good investment because the companies are going to get buried with debt as this loses value. You're Microsoft. You got all this money. Now it's not worth anything. What happens to your company? What happens when the customers don't have money to buy your computers? How is it going to be in 5 years that all of a sudden, I'm selling my computers again? They got to lower their price because there's no buyers, and then they got to worry how much it costs them. And they're going to have to lay people off because they can't make profit because they can't sell any product. So keep that in mind. But the S&P, if you're Toyota or you're Ford or GM, you're not going to have a business in 5 years. I mean, they want to sell electric cars. Who the hell is going to buy an electric car with what? With this? You're going to buy an electric car with this shit? No. You're going to buy an electric car with this? Hell no. I'm going to buy a Mercedes with this. I'm not going to buy an electric car. So that's the problem, right? So you got stock in Ford. It's at $12 now. It drops, goes down to $2. You think in 5 years it's going to be back to $12? I just doubt it very seriously. It's a fact. Cash is king. No. This is king. That's money. This is fiat. This is paper. If you're talking this is king, I agree with you. If you think this is king, you're not listening to the show because it's going to zero. Bobby, yes, life is way too expensive to not be greedy. We always need to keep evolving and educating ourselves to gain various streams of income and making wise investments. That's why this is a great. I couldn't have put it better, Bobby. Things change. Even I've been betting football since 1969, and I've been betting teasers since 1977. Believe me, I've thought I had it down, and then I had to refigure it out and have it down again, and then refigure. I bet Joe Montana's and Lawrence Taylor's, the Steelers, the Cowboys, and now we're in 2023, and everything that I've done, I've now got to recalibrate because it ain't working because these idiot new coaches, these idiots going for it on fourth down, these idiots going for 2 points, these idiot coaches that tight end coaches are now coaching the teams. So you have to always adjust, and you always got to think, and there's nothing wrong with wanting more. That's human nature. But that's the difference. So you've got to be very careful about that. There's nothing wrong with it. What's enough? I don't know. I could have 1,000 ounces of this. I don't know if that's enough. I might need 5,000 ounces. It depends what you want. I want to buy a country and live in it and have free trade, and gold is my currency. What's your goal? So Williams, cash, what do you mean by cash? US dollars or gold and silver? If you mean money is king, gold and silver is money. This is garbage. This is paper. This is fiat. This is, I believe in the government, which we all know is crookeder than shit. So if you believe in this, you got big problems. If you believe in this, now I'll listen to you. But cash is not king. You're starting to sound Keynesian. You're scaring me because I've already explained, right, Bobby? I've explained stocks. You don't want to be in them. People will need to sell them for the money they're going to need with the tidal wave that's coming. So you must keep that in mind. You must understand that concept. So it's not like before there's too much debt. We're $30 trillion in debt, and you want to raise interest rates. Good fucking luck with that. How do you think that's going to turn out? You think you're going to be buying stocks are going to all go up? Cash is only king at this moment. So we can load up on silver and gold. Exactly. Your cash, what's it going to be for Bill Gates, who's a billionaire, in dollars? And dollars go to zero. Guess what? Bill Gates don't own a penny. It will be heavily dethroned soon. Well, there's two reasons. One, they're printing it like a printing press, and it's paper. It's not an asset. Secondly, with what's going on in Russia and China, and they're coming out with this backed by this, and they're saying, okay, we're attaching gold and silver to our dollar. Oh, wait, now that's real money. Are you going to want US dollars? Or are you going to want Russian, China dollars backed by gold? I want the Russian China's backed by gold. I want whatever's backed by gold. Gold is king and silver. Well, we'll throw silver in there, but really it's the gold standard, not the silver standard. That's what you got to understand. So eventually they're going to come out with a new one that will not be backed. And then they're going to come out one that's going to be backed by this because they're going to realize the only way we survive is to back it by gold and silver. Hence the gold standard returns. It is the only out. It is the only way you don't fuck everything up. You don't have inflation. You don't have trade cycles. You don't have recessions if you use gold. But you can't print it. You can't copy it. This is it. This is the beauty part of it, right? I have this. I can't go copy it. I can't make 20 of these because I have this one. This is it. this is what you have, and it's limited. You got to dig it out of the ground. And the beauty of silver, not only is it incredibly undervalued, 20, I paid $35 an ounce for this shit. Are you kidding me? Do you know what? I mean, just a guess it's 2000. Then everybody needs it because you use silver to make things. So you have silver to make things, and there's not enough silver because there isn't a silver mine because it's not cost effective to have a silver mine. If I can only dig it out of the ground at $23, it doesn't make sense to have a silver mine. So all the silver that comes out is the gold mine, and you get a little bit of silver comes out with it. That's it. There is no silver. It is extremely rare right now, but yet it's in my computer, it's in your cell phone, and it's in a few other uses. And if they're going to go with these electric cars, guess what the battery's made out of? It's the only, you cannot make a battery for a car without silver. How many batteries are there? What's Tesla doing? So they need this. How expensive is it going to get? Because not only do you need it, but it's also money. It's a beautiful thing. It's so undervalued. It's ridiculous. Talk about manipulated and price fixed. We all know it. Once the shit hits the fan, and then this goes to real price, thanks to the Russians and Chinese backing their dollar with it, you put another 2 zeros after the 23 that you paid for it. That's what you get. Hi, Derek. Good afternoon. I disagree with you on Tampa Bay, Coach. Brady is running the offense. I know this for a fact. That's why he came back. Brady didn't like the previous coach. He will get it to work. Well, I certainly hope so, Derek. I think it's the offensive line has injuries. The center's a Pro Bowler. He's out. And Julio Jones never plays, and he lost Gronk. So I agree with you to a point. I believe Brady was the offensive coordinator at New England. I think he calls his own plays. I agree with you 100%. The problem I have, so maybe it isn't the coach, but again, their offensive line sucks, and they are not running the ball, and I don't really trust them. So okay, so the coach is better. He wasn't good at the Jets, so maybe he got better here. But anyway, yeah, and the receivers keep dropping passes. Exactly, Bobby. Well, that's the thing. Without Gronk, they thought they were replacing Gronk with Julio Jones, but Julio Jones never plays. He's got a pulled hamstring for 5 years now at Atlanta and last year at Tennessee. How many games has the guy played in 5 years? What, 5, 6 games? And they're always like the Monday night games or whatever. He'll be healthy when the playoffs roll around if Tampa's in them the way they're going. Carter, Mississippi State football player Sam Westmoreland just died. I'm sorry to hear that, but I've never heard of him. What position is he? So are we saying to bet Mississippi State against Alabama because they're going to play for Sam? I know they did that last week with Clemson and Boston College. The player got paralyzed or something and wore a bandana. Everybody wore a bandana, and they played the game for him, and Clemson still killed him. So I'm sorry that he died, but I don't know. I'm not quite sure the message here. I'm not going to play Mississippi State over Alabama after a loss because the kid died. But I am sorry he died. I've never heard of him. Yeah, Bobby, you're right. I mean, that's Tampa. That's how you can't get a receiver in this age of college football is unbelievable when so many teams have good receivers. All your whole Big 12 and Pac-10, Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA, Utah. I mean, you can grab. There's 20 receivers you can grab there. So it shouldn't be hard for Tampa to just free agent one of these guys. But I don't know. It just blows my mind. Derek. Yeah, when you swear, it hides it for a minute. It's not Todd Bowles. Bruce stayed on Brady's ass. He retired. Bruce left. Brady came back. Only good receiver Tampa got is Mike Evans. Yeah, Godwin's not bad. And then Fournette, they hit out of the backfield a lot. The problem is Fournette's running, but they got rid of the guy from SC. He's on Kansas City out, so they don't really have running backs to run. And so now it's one-dimensional, and we know one-dimensional offenses never work. And so they just double-team Evans and Godwin and watch Fournette out of the backfield, and then what do you do? So, yeah, that's what the problem is, right? It's not Tom Brady. It's just their offense sucks. Their offensive line. I was watching the Green Bay Jet highlights. The Jets blocked 2 fucking punts, and then Brady and then Rodgers keeps getting sacked. I don't know if the Jets' defense is that strong or the Green Bay line. The Green Bay line looked like shit. So I'm going to say the Green Bay line sucks. Now you got Green Bay at Washington, and I'm not touching it. I cannot trust Green Bay. I cannot trust Tampa. And that's the problem with the betting. You got to get off of those teams and go to the hot teams, the Jets, the Giants, Seattle, New England now. That's who you got to get on. You got to get on the teams that are hitting I know Brady and Rodgers will get it going. No, until they get it going, you stay off of them. And I know that's what you guys, I guess, call the eye test. I just look at the results and going, Green Bay just lost 2 in a row. I am not. If they look good, like Tampa, the reason I took them is they had lost to Green Bay and Kansas City. And I go, okay, they didn't play that bad. They just played 2 real good teams. So I took them against Atlanta. We won. Losing to Pittsburgh, my God, that's just terrible. And now they got at Carolina, which we got to find out who the quarterback is. It's probably an under game because now this is a game they play each other twice a year. So we got to see what the trends are, but I don't think I'd be laying 4.5, even if, whoever their quarterback is, but over under 40, I can see going under 46 and having a good time with it, but they're off. I'm not touching Tampa until they start showing it. Derek, it's not, okay. Bobby, only good receiver, Tampa Gosma, you're right. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Godwin. He's good too, but he's hurt a lot. He's been hurt a lot this year, but he's been playing. The other 2 guys are the ones you're talking about that can't catch. They keep dropping the ball. So you have that. And then, but again, I'm just going to leave Tampa alone until they start playing. I told you about Air Force, and they're struggling, and now they started to light it up. So now I'm like, okay, now I can bet Air Force. Miami, okay, finally Van Dyke threw for 400 yards. College, I'm talking. And then they played North Carolina, throws for 400. Then they beat Virginia Tech. He throws for 370. And now they got Duke this week, which I'll talk about tomorrow. But now I can finally bet Van Dyke. He's going. Now I can look at him. So sometimes you just got to ignore him and look for that. I've been betting Kansas every week. You know how many times I bet Kansas last year? Probably none. I see they're hot. I see they're scoring. And now they're beating good teams. I'm going, okay, first they're explosive, and I bet them over against Houston. But now they play TCU 38-31, who killed Oklahoma. I'm going, okay, this team's for real. They beat Iowa State. I don't know. I didn't watch the Oklahoma game, but they lost by 10, but we were getting 15, so it was fine. And now here they go against Baylor. So they played TCU. They'll play Baylor fine if they play TCU. And I don't care if their quarterback's out. The second quarterback, the second stringers, he's lighting it up too. So it's a good coach because it's a good offense that they can replace the quarterback and go from a running option type of quarterback, the first guy, to Bean, who's more of a pocket passer. They don't miss a beat. So very good coach at Kansas. I mean, the Lions should get this Kansas coach because if you can turn Kansas around, this guy knows how to coach. Godwin. Okay. So that's what you're looking for. You got to keep your eyes open. You've got to see what's going on. That's why I watch the box scores. I go on Yahoo Sports and look at the box scores for every game, every weekend to see what's going on. Like Old Dominion. I look at the box score, and there's a running back who ran for 350 yards last week or something, some huge number. And so I wrote the little note down. Old D can run the ball with this guy, da 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 da. And as long as he's not hurt, all of a sudden, Old D's a whole different team running for 350. It was like Barry Sanders, his senior year at Oak State. Never heard of him. I never heard of Thurman Thomas when he was there. And then Barry, what did he do? He ran for 200 yards, 250, 300. He ran for 6 touchdowns against Nebraska. All of a sudden, you knew who Barry Sanders was. You didn't know who he was the year before, but you watch, then you see that. So you've got to keep open to that. That's what you're looking for. That's how I found Van Dyke and Rising. That's how I found Kansas this year, and UCLA and Utah and USC. How do they look? Oh, they brought the Oklahoma team. They look pretty good. Their defense, they've been teams can drive down to the goal line, but they don't score on them. But I think Utah found a way to do that because Rising ran the ball in a few times. Derek, I agree, Professor. Rodgers don't play against Commanders. I throw my hands up. Do you mean he's out, or you mean if he plays like shit? Carter, Trent, I don't know. So you're just saying a guy died at Mississippi State. I'm not betting. I just seen it on the news, but he hasn't played in a game this year. Okay, they'll have effort. They'll let's play for Sam. You're playing fucking Alabama off of a loss. I don't think, I don't know what that's going to mean, but it'll definitely motivate them. But, if it was their quarterback who got injured in a car crash, then that would be huge. But some backup who got killed, yeah, we're sorry he got killed. We don't want anybody to die. But I don't know what we can do with it. I mean, yeah, it'll be motivation, but they don't got a chance. Alabama just lost. They're pissed off. So the question is, do you take Alabama or do you bet the game over? And that can Mississippi State score? They've been high scoring. We got to look at the last two or 3 years. They play him every year. How did he do the last 2 years? Because that's when you had the coach there who is the passing coach, Mike Leach. So he's from Texas Tech, Washington State, comes here, boom, they're passing. How does he do against Alabama? And that's when we go to the history to see the matchup. And if he puts up, like Tennessee had kind of scored against Alabama, because Alabama will get these teams and just shut them out. Like Vanderbilt, they score in 20, 30 points a game and play Alabama 55-3, play Georgia 55-0. Then you get the real team. So how does Mississippi State play Alabama the last 5 years or last 2 or 3 years? And if they score 20, then we can bet it over. If they get shut out, then you just take Alabama. And that's the question asked is it going to be a high-scoring game or a low-scoring game? Do I tease the favorite or the dog? That's your 4 options, and that's what you got to look at. And that's why you look at defenses first. So when we see a weak defense, we know Alabama's going to light it up. What do I got Mississippi State at? My initial breakout is they're both A teams, so they both score a lot and have strong defenses. Over under 62, and Alabama's laying 21. Do I go by Alabama minus 15? If Mississippi State's going to score a lot like Tennessee did, then we go over. That's why I went over. I knew Tennessee was going to score a lot. Because ain't nobody stopping this quarterback. If he's not drafted, and if you take Bryce Young over this quarterback, you're out of your mind. I don't know what, because he did it against Alabama's defense. Bryce Young, he didn't do it against, well, let's see him against Georgia, but he didn't do it against Georgia's defense in the championship game. He's doing it against weak defenses, but let him do it against Georgia or, Kentucky's got an okay defense, but let's see him against Georgia. Then we can determine it. And we're going to see Hooker against Georgia. Well, we know what Hooker did against Alabama. So this will be interesting to see how good Hooker is because they play Georgia next week. That'll tell you how good the guy is because that's what you want to see is how is he doing against this defense. And if he lights up Georgia, this guy should be the number 1 draft pick by a mile, even with Rising and Van Dyke 2 and 3. I mean, that's how you view it. But we'll see what happens. But I don't know. Alabama minus 15. They have a way of blowing you out with pick sixes, with strip sacks, sacking your quarterback. Alabama does it every which way. But a mobile quarterback will hurt him. But I don't know if Will Rogers is a mobile quarterback. That's why Alabama lost to Johnny Manziel. I mean, he's nothing, but he could move. So if Will Rogers, the Mississippi State quarterback, is mobile, I don't think he's a runner, but if he's mobile, Mississippi State has a chance. If he's not mobile, they don't have a chance. Because Alabama does, they will blitz you. They'll just send 6, and they just devour you. So that's the problem when you get an offensive team like Mississippi State. They can't block all that Alabama throws at you, and then you get shut out. 3 strikes in a row, you're out. I lose with pocket aces 3 times in a row. I have to second guess myself. Derek, let me give you a poker lesson. Narduzzi, good to have different assets. Williams, the only asset you want now is gold and silver. Anything else, you don't want a house you're going to lose value on, maybe a Picasso, maybe a Rolex, a Mantle card. Those would be my differentiation, not stocks. All right, Derek, let's talk. I get pocket aces. I pre-flop. Now I'm playing $2 at MGM downtown. Pocket aces, I raise it up to 20 at a $2 game. I only want one caller. I don't care if I get any callers, but I get one caller. He calls probably with a pair of 5s or 6s or 7s or 10s or something. He's calling. Why is he playing 20? So I'm watching what's going on right away. The flop comes. What does he do? Who's first to act? Don't overbet it. So what I do, if he's first to act and he checks to me, my spider senses are tingling. So I'm testing him back with another $20 bet. They know I got a hand. If they re-raise me, I fold in 5 seconds. I know they've hit their set because they won't re-raise me if they didn't hit because they know I got a hand. I bet 20 pre-flop, and I called, and then he checks, and then I bet 20 because he's setting me up with that check. So I am not going to risk a lot. If he check raises me, it's an immediate fold, and 100% of the time he hit his set. Now, if I'm first to act, it's very similar. I'll bet my 20. If he raises me, this isn't a check raise. I prefer when he's first to act, he check, bet, check raise, I fold. Now, if I'm first to act and I bet, I might bet 20 or 30. Then we got to see what he's doing. And if he raises me, I fold. He's got me. He's hit his set. Why is he calling me? So again, you go to the question of why. So he's calling me with probably a pair. Otherwise, for $20, now in this 1-2 game, you're not calling $20. Maybe king, queen of clubs, but, okay, did 3 clubs flop? No. Okay, fine. Did Jack 10-9 flop? Oh, I better be careful. So you're watching the board and you're watching the bet. They bet for the reason. Vanilla, do I still play poker? Yes, I do. Right now, I've been buying this, so I play less poker because if I lose, that's gold and silver I could have bought. So once the shit hits the fan, I'll be playing a lot of poker. But I've played about a month or 2 ago. I go to MGM downtown Detroit. I usually play $2, and I outplay everybody after the flop. That's how I play. Nobody knows what I have. I'm one of the best players in the room, said by other players in the room. I don't say that. I know I'm good. I don't say I'm better than everybody, but I've had a guy sit down next to me, and this other guy next to me says, do you realize you're playing next to the best player in the room? And I'm like, would you shut the fuck up? Why do we need to advertise that? But I don't say it. I let him say it. But I'm very, very tricky and very hard to read because I'll play hands differently. Pocket aces, I might check. Pre-flop, I bet. But after the cards hit, I look at what hit. I might check. And the biggest problem I see with most poker players, they don't protect their hand. I was watching like the LA Classic 5 Diamond Award, one of these old shows by what's his name that died, Mike Sexton. And a guy will have aces or kings or something, and the flop comes like 2 clubs, and the guy's not protecting. He's checking like, dude, what the fuck are you checking for? The guy has 4 clubs. So then another club hits. What do? You don't know what you did because you didn't bet and you didn't protect your hand. The guy hits. You don't know that. You don't know where you stand. Pocket aces suck on any board that's 2 clubs, 2 straights, because you don't know where you are. You must bet and you must protect the aces, because a pair of aces, if all the cards are revealed, suck. You're not going to win with aces once all 5 cards are out if there's more than 2 people in the pot. Somebody hit 2 pair on you, more than likely. Trips, a straight, a flush. It sucks if all 5 cards are out. So you want to bet that flop pretty hard and get the guys out, and the big money's on the turn. That's where you bet your big bet. Once the river hits, you're fucked. Then you make the big bet and the guys hit the straight or flush on you. You bet it on the turn. That's where you bet your big bet. Then the guy folds, or because, let's say there's 3 diamonds and then a 4th diamond hits on the river. Wow, what are you going to do? You going to make a big bet? No, you're fucked. You got to bet it on the turn is where you make your big $500 bet or whatever you're playing. And that gets the guy out. But once the river hits, he's going to bluff you, right? Because he can't win unless he bluffs, but you don't know it's a bluff. So what are you going to do? Now you have this huge decision. But if you would have made a big bet on the turn, you don't have the decision. And you're going to win a lot more. Williams, not set, no set, no bet when you play pairs. Well, that's my point. So if I have aces and you have 6s and you hit a set, you bet it. If you don't, you're just going to check it down and see what happens. And that's the tell right there. So the guy's bet is telling you if you won or not. Ace, you only have 1 pair. Yes. Derek, okay, I agree, Professor. How often do you lose with pocket aces? I'll say maybe once, twice, but 3 times in a row. Now I'm wondering, are you playing online, which is what it sounds like? So I'd be very careful of the cheating online. I don't play online anymore. I only go down to the casino. And even then there's teams that play me. One guy will bet small, the other guy raises, and I know I'm playing a team, but I still can play my hand and beat them both. But you do have to be careful. There was a husband and wife. One guy was an attorney, and they would blatantly cheat. They'd blatantly. The guy would do this. So he'd put like 2 chips in front of him when he had a hand, and the wife would fold or do whatever she did. And it was an obvious tell. He would do it on. So he's putting it in front, like nobody understands it. So he would do it, or maybe this signal was 3, but he'd put the chips in front of his stack, but not a bet. And then the wife would know what to do based on the cheating. So you got to be very careful with that. Well, how did you lose with pocket aces? Did you not bet the guy off? Did you check him? Did you bet and the other guy out flopped you? That's the question I'm asking you, Derek, is how are you losing with pocket aces? How are you betting the hand? So give me one of the ways you lost. Are you checking him, letting the guy catch up, letting him hit the straight? Did you get setted where the guy hits a set on you on the flop and that's how you lost? Or did you just not check it or bet it? Or did you bet and the guy hits the flush on you? So there's all kinds of, if you made a big bet and the guy called you on a flush draw and he hits his flush, okay, there's nothing you can do. If you checked it and let him catch up, shame on you. And that's what I'm trying to prevent is you got to be aggressive on the flop. And if they raise you, you just fold. You don't fuck around, you fold. You bet enough that it doesn't hurt you. So you bet, like I bet 20. I could have bet 100, but then he check raises me, I'm fucked. So if I bet 20, I get the same information with 20. And then if he check raises me, I only lost the 20. So why do I need to bet 100? I can get the same info with 20. If he didn't hit, he's going to fold anyway. So I risk the 100. I don't want to risk 100. I want to risk the 20. That's how you kind of bet that. That's how you get the information. In other words, you get the same information betting 20 as you do betting 100. That's my point. So when you make bets, if you're trying to get information, You need to not bet that much. You'll get the same information with the $20 bet at a 1-2 table. Not if you're at a 30-60 table, but if you're at a 1-2, maybe a 1-3 table, and you bet 20, you're going to get the same information with less risk than betting 60. And then the guy, he check raises you, you're fucked. Howard, you asked the right questions. You have to bet. Derek Rogers, if he loses to Commanders, Green Bay now has problems. Not a time to relax. It now becomes distress. They are really weak teams. I agree 100% there. That's what I'm saying. To find out where you're at. Yeah, well, exactly. But when you bet to find out where you're at, I'm talking to Williams now. When you bet to find out where you're at, what I'm saying is just bet the 20. Don't bet 100 to find out where you're at. You're going to get the same information. The guy will fold in a 1-2 game or 1-3 game. You bet 20, he's going to fold unless it's a big pot. So I'm talking maybe heads up or maybe two people in it. But you can't if you check and you don't get the information, then the guy bets you. What do? You don't know what to do, right? The guy, you've checked. Now the guy bets 50. What do? But if you bet 20 with your aces or kings, and then the guy raises you, you know what to do. And if he calls you, then either he's got a monster or you've got him beat. And either way, you've got your information. He normally, for the $20 in a 1-2, if it's just you and him, he's going to fold. If he missed, he's going to fold. Or you can see the way he calls you, right? He's like, okay, I'll call. He's got 8s or 9s, and then you've got him anyway. Only to worry about is the check raise. When they check and you bet and they raise you, I'm out 100% of the time. Now, if you're playing with the pros, they might do that to you. But generally, at MGM in Detroit, they're not check raising me as a bluff. Or I know if they do. There was a Russian girl, so I'll teach you about bluffers. She would bluff, and I figured it out. So I have a pair of aces or kings. I have a big pair. I flop the set, and she makes her big bet, and I go all in, and she folds. And I go, aha, she's bluffing. The next hand or a couple of hands down the road, she checks. And I go, she must have a big hand. She's not betting. She wants me to stay in. And sure enough, she flops a full house or has a flush, whatever. She has a big hand. And I pull her aside and I said to her, you've got to play your bluffs just the same way you play your hand. Because when you check, I know you got a good hand. So when you bet 100, I know you're bluffing. And when you check, I know you got a big hand. That's your tell. So, and I told her that. She moved to Miami or something. Beautiful Russian girl. So, of course, I'm going to do that. But that's the thing is the bluffers will check on you. And then you know they got a hand, and then you know when they're bluffing. But you got to know they're bluffers versus the tight guys. So you got to know it's just like the teams, right? You got to know who you're playing. Am I playing a bluffer or am I playing a guy that when he has his hand, he bets, and when he doesn't have his hand, he checks? That's the first thing you got to figure out from the guy. And that's why you got to watch the other hands when you're not in it and watch these guys and see how they play it. Most of the time, you're going to get very little bluffing. The only time I bluff usually is when I got a decent hand and check to me on the river or on the turn. If it's not a lot of action and check to me on the turn, I'll bet $30. And usually that's how I bluff, and then I'm win that. But if there's betting, you can't bluff. See, this is the thing about bluffing. If I bet $20 pre-flop, you pretty much know I got aces or kings because in a $1-2 game, I'm not bluffing $20 to win $3 on the flop, right? Or on the blinds. There's no point in it. Why would I bet 20 to win $3? So I'm going to have a hand to build the pot pre-flop. So you can't bluff. You've put me on a big hand. You can't bluff me because you assume I'm going to call your bluff. So if you bet 40 on me, I'm pretty much going to call you with my aces or kings. So therefore, you very rarely, if you're the aggressor, are going to get bluffed. So when the big bet comes back at you, He's got a hand. He's not bluff. You can't bluff those guys. You can bet it when it's small bets and just hope somebody didn't flop a monster and is slow playing it. And that's why you don't bluff too much. But I always think these all-ins are always bluffs. 99% of the time, the all-ins are bluffs because they don't want you to call. Why don't they want you to call? Because they're bluffing. If they got 4 aces, they want a call. They're not going to go all in on the bluff. They're going to bet, half the pot, get you to call. They're going to bet enough to get you to call. So when an all in, they don't want you to call. They don't have 4 aces, or they don't have a big hand. Derek, I'm trying to make a point about Green Bay and losing to weak teams. That's my option. I'm trying to tell you Green Bay is a weak team. They lost to the Jets and the Giants, and I'm saying I won't like them against Washington because I think they're a weak team. I think their offensive line sucks. Their receivers suck. They got good running backs. You want to blame Rodgers. I don't want to blame Rodgers. I don't think it's his fault. He got, the Jets have 5 sacks on him? They're not that strong defensively. He doesn't have an offensive line or receivers. His receivers are dropping the ball. So what I'm saying is I'm agreeing that Green Bay is a weak team right now. And that's why you don't want to bet them against Washington, because they couldn't beat the Giants. They couldn't beat the Jets at home when they needed it and got 2 punts blocked. What the fuck is that? How do you get 2 punts blocked? I mean, it doesn't happen in college. And you're the pros and you get 2 punts blocked. And I do know the punter looks awful slow punting the ball. But that's really the key that I'm saying is, what the fuck? I mean, you've got to be careful with that. So that's all I'm looking at is they stink right now. Tampa stinks right now. I don't know if it's all offensive line or no receivers. And these quarterbacks need receivers because they're great quarterbacks. But I do not call Rodgers a bad quarterback. He's not the problem. It's just like I don't blame Mahomes for losing to Buffalo. You can't blame him. And you really can't blame Rodgers. It's the receivers. It's the line. Same thing with Tampa. The center's all pro is out. That's all you can do. You can't really blame, don't blame the quarterback. Now, some quarterbacks you can blame. It ain't Rodgers and Brady, that's for sure. It's the guy who scrambles around like DeMarcus Murray. Is he to blame for Arizona scoring 9 on Seattle? Is it the offensive line? They do get their receiver back this week? The guy from Miami of Florida his suspension's over. So let's see who's Arizona. They got New Orleans, so they might play an over tonight because he just found his receiver. So maybe that'll help. And then I don't know who New Orleans' quarterback's going to be, but we'll find out soon. So, yeah, that's your point, and I agree with it. Yeah, but I think Green Bay is a weak team, too. I don't have any confidence in Green Bay. How they're favored in this game is only because Wentz is out. And they're going with Heineke, who I like better. And that's what I'm worried about with Dallas is Dallas is starting Prescott over Rush. Not that I think Rush is better, but Rush normally didn't turn the ball over till these 3 interceptions against Philly, which I didn't, I was like, what the hell is this guy doing? But normally I would like Rush because he doesn't turn the ball over and he lets the defense play. So look what happened, right? He throws 3 interceptions. Philly scores. Oh, where did the defense go? Well, it wasn't the defense's fault. If you give Philly the ball at the 20-yard line, I don't care who you are, you're not going to keep them out of the end zone. But if you don't turn it over and you let the defense rest, look at the second quarter. Turn 2-3 interceptions. You tired out your defense. That's what you did. Just run, get your first down, or punt the ball. Give your defense the rest it needs against the Philly team. But that's what you got to do. So that's really what you're at. So yes, Green Bay, they're terrible right now. We know Detroit's terrible. Carolina's, that's the problem with the league, right? Most teams are terrible. Jacksonville, Houston. I'm not sure how strong Oakland is. Pitt. Oh my God, they're terrible. And of course the Bears. So that's it. Well, yeah, it's all psychological. That's the thing with sports is, and a lot of really with life. I mean, your wife, your kids, your job. I mean, you played sports, so your coach. It's all communication. I think you got to really communicate when you're playing poker or football or baseball. It's poker's all communication. It's body language communicate. How is this guy acting? Is he weak on purpose or not? And why is he betting? And is he betting to get me out? Is he betting to get a call? That you got to learn from the guy, but you learn it in 20 minutes. I remember I was in Vegas at Caesars for a holiday, and I got no card. I was like 3-9, 4-10, 2-7, fold for a half hour. And I'll never forget this guy at the table goes, "Oh, I know how you play." And I'm looking at him like, "Yeah, you're right. If I get 2-7, I fold." You're a genius. I mean, you haven't seen half of my repertoire because I couldn't play it because I'm not getting cards. Fold 2-7. I don't fuck around with it. I'm not going to bluff with it because you can't really. How are you going to bluff with it? I mean, maybe, but that's not my intent. Is not to bluff with 2-7. With my money, with your money, maybe not with my money. So that's what happens. But to tell me you know my game and you don't even know, I never met you before, in a half hour of getting crap cards was the funniest thing I ever heard. I go, man, you got me pegged. That's right. I only play aces and I fold everything else. Man, you've got me down. Derek, now we're going to see who Dak really is. No way Jerry lets Dak sit with what he's paying him. He's pissed Roger Goodell is getting him his big salary at the owners meeting. I don't agree with just because he makes more money, I'm going to play him. I want the best player out there who's going to win me the game. And look at Zappy. Zappy doesn't make any money. And if I'm New England, I'm never sitting this guy down if he's healthy. This guy's going to make you win and let him, and then pay him is fine. But you pay him because he gets you to win. Prescott doesn't deserve the money. What has he done? Has he won playoff games? I don't know. I know they lost to the Niners last year in the playoffs, I think, if they were even in it. I don't even think they make the playoffs half the year, especially for Mac Jones. Well, exactly. See, that's my point, Bobby, is Jacksonville has Trevor Lawrence, and here you can have, let's say, Hooker from Tennessee. Who do you think's better? Hooker by a mile. He just fucking beat Alabama. Trevor Lawrence never did. He beat him running, but he never – I saw him against Ohio State twice. He looked like shit, and he didn't show up against LSU. So against the big games in college, he didn't show up. And here's Hooker. So I'm Jacksonville. I can have Hooker from Tennessee who just pounded Alabama, or I can have Trevor Lawrence. The correct answer is go to Hooker. But they won't because they got Trevor Lawrence and they're paying him, and they'll look bad if they drafted him number one and he's not good, a.k.a. the kid from Washington State. I can't remember, McGuire. No, what was his name? And he was on the 97 team. He was the number one draft pick ahead of Manning or number 2 or whatever. I think it was the number 1 draft pick, and he sucked. And what a waste of a first round of a number 1 pick. But you've got to let him go. If you have a chance for Hooker or Rising, who are much better than Trevor Lawrence, that's what but these guys are too stupid to do that. I drafted him. I'm never wrong. Then it's an ego thing. I'm right. Lawrence will be good. Yeah, in your dreams. Because here's the perfect example, Zappy, right? Zappy comes in. He's played. He's been there 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and he's lighting it up. He beats the Lions. He plays well against Green Bay. Then he plays well last week. He steps right in and plays. Herbert steps right in and plays. Lawrence doesn't step right in and look like either of those two. So how much time do I need to give Lawrence when I'm not giving Zappy any time and he's my starter, or Justin Herbert? I mean, that's my point. These guys are good. They're good. and you don't need to give them 2 years to learn. You don't need to learn. Either you're good or you're not good. And I think you know that, Bobby, from baseball. Either you can hit or you can't hit. I don't think the coach teaches you how to hit. It's a feel. Like I remember when I played, you just feel the ball. You don't really see the ball hit the bat. You see the ball and then you hit it. And it's almost like your eyes are closed, but you can feel it. You know where it is and you hit it. And that's how it is with the quarterbacks. These guys just know what it is. But yeah, Hooker's are so's Van Dyke and so's Rising. And I don't think Lawrence is. We will see Zappe progress going forward. Teams will have film on this, and we will see. Remember, this is the NFL defense coordinators watch the film. Well, it depends. If it's the Lions defensive coordinator, he didn't do a good job watching the film. I agree if he was more of like a running or did something strange that you needed to film. But in this case, I don't see where he's just a good quarterback. I mean, I don't know. You're going to watch film on Brady and Rodgers. What are you going to learn? That they can throw the ball. There's not a lot you can do. So I think Zappe's just a good quarterback. Like Justin Herbert, there's film on him. Good luck stopping him. You can't stop him. Even with the film, it's just when you're a good throwing quarterback, there's not a lot you can. The only thing you can do is the film on Josh Allen says to blitz him. That is what you learn on the film is to blitz the guy. But you can't blitz Brady. You can't blitz Rodgers. You can't blitz Mahomes. Russell Wilson, I did notice they were blitzing him, but I think his offensive line's terrible. But a lot of the good quarterbacks, Peyton Manning, I don't think you could beat him with the blitz. It's just certain players. I mean, but that's the only way to really beat a lot of these quarterbacks is I would blitz Philadelphia every play and make him throw to beat you. He ain't going to do it. Which I think Dallas did blitz a lot. They just didn't get home. And I noticed they were double and triple teaming Micah Parsons. So he didn't get in there, but he was causing disruptions with 3 guys blocking him. So, yeah, I agree with you on the film. It does make a difference, but I don't know that film's really going to help you with Zappe. He's just a drop back guy. He throws the ball. Maybe you can blitz him, maybe you can't, but he's not like a running quarterback. So I'm not sure what the film's going to really help you with. But, yeah, I mean, that happens with good pitchers. You get the film, you see what they pitch, and then okay, this guy has 2 pitches or whatever. But that the film does help you. Strength and weakness, I guess, and that's what you want to see. But Zappe's fine with me. I like him. Like I said, I'll bet him. I bet New England against Chicago with Zappe. But if you put Mac Jones back in the game, I wouldn't touch New England. That's how critical the right quarterback is. And that's why I say if I'm Jacksonville, I'm getting rid of Trevor Lawrence. If I'm Detroit, I'm getting rid of Goff. You got 3 or 4 superstar quarterbacks. I don't know if Van Dyke comes out next year or Rising, but they may be. And then Hooker, I don't know if he comes out, but when they come out, those are you're saying Mahomes, right? That's what you got. Burrow, I think Rising and Van Dyke are like Burrow. They are just superstars, and Hooker can run a little bit more, but he's not Lamar Jackson. He doesn't look to run first. He runs to get away, but he's a passer, and he's fucking. That pass he threw was the second or third touchdown. The guy got behind the Alabama guy. He just laid it in the end zone, just laid it right in the guy's hands. That was such a beautiful, it was like a 40-yard pass. That's what I mean. That's what that's what a good quarterback should do is make those throws. And that's what these 3 can do, as well as the guy from Coastal Carolina, McCall, who I talk about. And we'll see other ones, but those 4 are just superstars already in the making, and you're not winning like even this Jones at the Giants. I mean, he's terrible, but that's what I was talking about. These are the running quarterbacks, right? They go back and they want to run. They have no thought of throwing the ball because they're just terribly inaccurate, and you can just see the guys that have it and the guys that don't. Derek, I agree with New England. New England beats the Cubs. We will see when he plays Buffalo. I think I think Buffalo wins, but I think he gives them a better chance. He looked good against Green Bay, getting thrown in against the Wolves, and beating the Lions is like beating, Rice or, Tulane or something. That's not really a good win. They're not a professional team, but I agree with that. But yeah, I mean, well, look at the difference. Look at Fields versus Zappy, and it's not even close. Zappy's 1,000 times better than Fields. Because he played in a system at Ohio State, he hasn't learned how to be a quarterback. He doesn't know how to read defenses. He doesn't know how to sidestep like Brady and still throw the ball from the pocket. He wants to run. Him and this Jones on the Giants and Kyler Murray. I mean, Kyler throws the ball more, but these guys, Mariota, they want to run the ball. They don't throw the ball, and that's the problem. Look how good those teams are, and look how good the teams are with the Zappy or Mahomes or, these better quarterbacks. Look at Utah in college. Look how strong they are. And in USC and UCLA, they got, Thompson Robinson. I forgot about him. He's another stud that I'd take in the first round. I mean, that's another great quarterback that you got. And the kid from Oak State, I forgot him. And not Baylor, but Oklahoma's okay. He's not in that league, but you got those. The kid from TCU, he runs, but he's a good thrower too. He's not in the league of these. I'd rather have Spencer Sanders from Oak State, but yeah, I mean that's what you got. Well, you give Duggan credit. He did at the end drive him down and win the game, so give him credit. That's what you're looking for, but. That's what you want of the guys like that. Now, Spencer Sanders runs, but he's a great quarterback, and then he can kind of run. He's like Mahomes. When he needs to run, he runs, but he's looking for the receivers. So you got a boatload of quarterbacks coming out that are so much better than the shit you got now. Daniel Jones, Mariota, Fields. Oh, my God. What garbage is in the league? And so we'll see, but that's my point. Anyway, I'm talked off 3.5 hours. Oh, my God. So I'm going to go put my silver away. That's the best part. I get to put it away. And I got like 20 of these bins. So I started stacking on top. These hold like more than 20. So I'm going to find the other ones that have more than 20 and put them in this one. But anyway, so that's what's going on. Tomorrow we'll talk college football. And it's a little bit different this week. There's not some of the teams aren't. I'm not seeing the same type of games or Baylor, Kansas. I got to wait for the Baylor quarterback like last week. I don't see Arkansas. There's some key teams I'm not seeing and some matchups that I'm not sure what to do with. So it's a little bit different in this week. But I did find about 6 or 7 games I like. As opposed to I was finding 20. I didn't find 20 this week. A lot of MAC teams where I'm not really sure what to do with. And there's a lot of MAC and Sun Belt that you're like going, who do I do? I got to dig into those more and hopefully I'll find like my Buffalo over UMass. I love that. Those are what I love, those picks. So I'm going to hunt for those. About to go grab Silver Bar now and look at it. Yeah, Bobby, you're going to be addicted. Wait till you buy the gold. I looked at some Maple Leafs and they just look so pretty and shiny. And you buy one, then you buy 2, and then you buy 10, and then you stack them up, and you'll be sleeping with those. It would be real good if you can buy one of those James Bond big bars. I don't know who can afford those, but those are what government buys. But if you could get 1 ton of gold, you'd really be you'd be smiling day and night with that because those are worth a ton. You got me on Jackson. Jackson wasn't never supposed to play in the NFL. He's a story still trying to develop. I agree. That's my point with him. He's a very talented athlete. At Louisville, he ran a lot. I remember the Florida State game, and they won like 70-0, and it was all him running. And that's why he went late in the first round. But Baltimore's got to understand it's enough with him. And that's probably why they didn't sign him to the contract. They're probably going, we can't win with this type of quarterback. I think they were trying to do a Kaepernick, but Kaepernick could throw the ball well. and run it. And that's what I think they thought with Jackson. He just doesn't throw the ball well enough. And then to lose to the Giants and lose to Buffalo, I'm sorry, you can't lose those games with those leads. So you give them credit for getting the lead, but you got to take it away for losing the game that you never should have lost. So that's my only point. Personally, I got nothing. Yeah, he's a great athlete, absolutely. But I think I'd make him a wide receiver, not a quarterback. And that's what you'll see. Remember Hines Ward of Pittsburgh? He was a good quarterback, but not an NFL quarterback, right? And so they made him a wide receiver. And he was a great wide receiver. That's all I'm saying. I think I'd make Lamar Jackson a wide receiver. Teach him how to catch, and with his speed, he'd be dynamite. That's what I would do with the guy. Play him to his assets. That's all I'm ever saying. He's fast, but at quarterback, he can't throw it well enough. That's what I'm saying. So why do you think Rodgers and Brady do what they do? They're not fast. They can't run, but they are freaking accurate. They know how to read a blitz, and that's what Lamar doesn't have, but Mahomes and Russell Wilson does. And these guys out of college, and I'm talking about the Thompson Robinson at UCLA, the Rising at Utah, the guy Williams at USC, Van Dyke at Miami, the kid out of Tennessee, the kid at Oak State. These guys can fire it. They're good quarterbacks. And those guys, you watch, you give Baltimore Rising, the kid from Utah, they'll be in the playoffs every year. This guy's unbelievable. Very accurate, good, and he can run a little bit. But when he needs to, that's what the position is. You need to be able to throw the ball and hand it off and let the runners take care of it. That's why I don't like Josh Allen. Too much running where he doesn't slide, and it's just a joke. Now he does some runs. He looked good on the 4th and 1. Okay, fine. But you got to be a quarterback. Now he is throwing the ball better, but he's still, you blitz him, forget about it. He can't read it. And that's always been his problem. So where Brady reads it, Rodgers reads it, he doesn't. Anyway, that's it. Time to finish my avocado that it's been cut at 2:00 and go do my swimming and talk to people about why they own Bitcoin and don't own gold, and try to keep a straight face when they tell me they don't want gold. Because that really just, it's like the tidal wave is like here, and you're trying to tell me there's no tidal wave. And I'm like, okay, I see it, but you're right. I'm wrong. Okay. Anyway, see you tomorrow with college football. Again, I owe that gentleman a phone call, which I'm going to eat first because I don't have the patience for a phone call right now. And I got to study college more. Pros, I've actually found 5 or 6 games, and I've already put up 3 locks that I actually are locks this week. I felt I rushed the locks on Tampa and San Francisco last week. That Tampa lock, okay. The San Francisco, I probably shouldn't have locked it. The Dallas lock under, I did like that one. But the college locks are just unbelievable. So I have found 2, maybe 3 or 4. Like if I get the Baylor quarterback, I could lock the Kansas over. But I got to wait till Saturday. So, unless that. And then there's a couple of unders that I like. Otherwise, there's a lot of like lower, like I said, Sunbelt and MAC games that are like, huh? And then Mississippi LSU like, huh? That you just have no feeling on. All right, everybody. Have a great day. www.teaserking.com. Thank you, Derek. I'm very happy. I want to teach. This is a classroom. I'm not trying to sell anything, although the football picks are going to help make you money so you can buy gold and silver. Bobby, start buying gold. And you're welcome, Derek. I'm happy to help. Bobby, buy an ounce for me. And then the feeling you get from that is better than any sex you ever had versus the silver. All right, you're sleeping with your silver. Wait till you buy an ounce of gold. Today you could buy Maple Leaf for $1,700 from my guy. So if you can't find it, call him. But and the shipping's the same, $15. But once you start dating a gold ounce, you'll never go back to silver. Well, Derek, that's the lesson really is why. Why did Tampa lose to Pitt? Why did the Dallas Philly go under? Why is the government printing the money to nothing? Why do I buy gold and silver? So it's all, there's got to be a reason. So when you ask the guys why you're in Bitcoin, you can't get an answer. That's the problem, because it's not an asset and it's not money. Well, thank you, Derek. I have a high IQ, but I try to be very open and honest, and I try to communicate very well. I think that's just the way to be. I don't like people that lie and are dishonest and scam people. It really bothers me. And believe me, I can see it a mile away, especially at poker. If they're scamming or what the government's doing to everybody, it just really rips me that they're fucking everybody with this money and then saying, oh, it's not a recession. Bullshit. It's already a recession. You're printing money to death for what reason? And you're not telling people about gold and silver because you want everybody to suffer so we can depend on you. And it just makes me sick. So that's the main reason I'm on here, is to not to warn, but educate and really tell you what the hell's going on. And I bring it to the table. I bought 9 ounces of silver today. I got 350, but I'm still buying because I don't know how much I need, but I do know I need it. And that's really what I'm trying to help. Anyway, I'm hungry. I'm going to go eat. www.teaserking.com, and I will see you tomorrow for college football. And anytime you want to talk gold, silver, or stocks or pros, just let me know. I'll work it in the conversation. All right. Have a nice night, everybody. Thank you.